And there we are. We are live. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Sam. How's it going?
Well, I feel temporally unstuck.
I feel like I've traveled back in time from Friday to like Tuesday, because we usually do these reviews Friday, and it feels like a Tuesday all day today. It's felt like a Tuesday, and I don't know why.
Well, that is very true. We have another epic topic today. Otherwise, we'll be eagerly awaiting our morsels of it's gonna be a special episode 7. It's soon. It's gonna be Thursday. We'll film Thursday, Friday. Maybe drunk hours of the weekend. No. Here we are, Tuesday.
Yep. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We got a surprise at the San Diego Comic-Con, and that is episode 7, which is those old scientists.
The episode of TOS. It's Stranger Worlds TOS. Literally.
Yeah. So, yeah.
TOS.
I jumped on and did a first reaction that night, but...
yeah, well done for that.
Yeah, we had some... it screwed up the week a little bit, but that's okay.
I carefully had plans the days that we don't do the stuff, which I then couldn't move because they were planned.
You shouldn't do that over the course of San Diego Comic-Con, though.
I didn't even know it was on. I'll be honest. Didn't even know.
Last time we were waiting for Comic-Con news, it never came or whatever, and it's like whatever.
Well, it's because actors weren't doing a thing, so no one talked about it for me to even think it was on, because it didn't even occur to me, right?
Yeah.
But the funny thing, I took those days because I couldn't take this coming weekend away. That was the whole point. Also other things, etc.
Yeah.
Funny old world.
Oh, Paul Graham has joined the channel. Rank of Ensign. Good to see you, Paul.
Now,
welcome aboard.
Are you taking the pip, or are you having some braids? Because there's a choice this time.
They look weird on the sleeves, though.
Says you.
Chuck A. TNG Fanatic throws in $2. No surprise here for this great Trekyards review. Thank you, Chuck A.
Thank you.
Ray Ricks throws in £10.
That's
absolutely love this episode. Both Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome were great. They did a great job mixing the tone of both shows. Plus, the animated Enterprise looked good. And the koala sees all. Yeah, there's a koala. Nice touch in the opening there. And Sean O'Sullivan, €2. This episode proves visual continuity doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jill says 9.5 out of 10, just in case you were expecting me to give a low score. I was expecting you to really enjoy it, Jill, so... but yeah. I think we'll be doing one of these on Friday as well, because the regular episode, they drop on the regular day as well, apparently, so...
It's just a bonus.
Yeah.
It's a condensed week, which means, of course, we will not be doing the season finale when we thought. We'll not be doing the drunk hours of season finale when we thought. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be sooner. But anyway, 55 of you here, 33 likes. Guys, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 50. We can do it. No problem. We can do it.
Now, I've done an official poll that I'll have to strip it out in a second, but let us know right now, when did you watch this episode? Were you able to watch it the night it dropped? The next day? Today? When did you watch it? And did you actually stop what you were doing to watch it? Because that must be kind of a first ever. A bonus episode dropped up. An episode dropped random. I know one of the Picards dropped like an hour early, accidentally one time. So that's sort of close, but not quite. This is a full-on 5 days early.
Yeah.
Crazy. Can you imagine, though, if this was like TNG, and they tell production, right, we want to release episode 21 3 days after 2020. But then we have 3 days to make it. Yeah. Because they made them far closer to the release date, to the point of almost ridiculousness. You could not remove that. There's a failed story in Voyager where they literally were emailing. So at that point, they could send files online right at the precipice of Voyager. They sent VFX shots the evening it was coming out, because it was a big episode. So literally It was done that night as it came out because people were working on it, which means the effects houses were still working on it, etc. So that can happen. Let us know when. I really want to know.
Well, the official poll, though, which you should go vote on, is this the best episode of Strange New World Season 2? Yes, no, or joint best? Ooh. So go vote on the poll, hit the like button, do all the things. You guys know the routine. You're going to share this, my friend?
I'm just interested to see what people say about when they watched it. As soon as it came out, Sunday night, 50 minutes later, Saturday, Sunday.
Watched it on Tuesday, too busy other days. Yeah. People have schedules and plans, like they know when they're going to sit down, enjoy a meal and watch a show with their, significant other, and then this happens. It's like, ugh. Anyway.
And let's give Pumpkin Spice's shout out there. He missed the last episode review, so he has a question for last episode. If you could put your mind back in episode 6 for a second. Wouldn't the captain of the Farragut be upset with his first officer Kirk hanging out on the Enterprise instead of watching over his own ship? No, because he hadn't taken command of second-in-command duties yet. He was training a replacement in his division, so he wasn't second-in-command for at least 3 weeks. Therefore, no, he was fine.
Yeah.
Now I'll go share.
Go for it.
Yeah.
So 71 viewers, 42 likes. Guys, hit that like button. Let's try to get to 50. We can do it. Also, make sure you're subscribed. I mean, YouTube tends to unsubscribe people from things. Make sure the subscribe button is not red. Hit that button if you're able to. And make sure you're subscribed. Click the notification bell icon to all. I'd really appreciate that. I know Sam would too. Also, by all means, super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts, comments, anything about this episode. There's a lot to talk about, so if you guys have anything you want us to read out on the air, please do so with a super chat. Shows your support for the channel as well as for this fantastic episode. So please do that. Consider joining the channel as well. There's a join button down there, and you can be part of every video as part of the fleet at the end of the video. And you can be serving on a ship, have your name on the plaque, and see where you're hanging out, who you're hanging out with, who your crewmates. Go join them on the Discord and chat with them also. Lots of great things for joining the channel, so go check out the perks after you hit the join button down below, or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. All the same ranks, perks, privileges, all that apply over there as well, if that's the way you prefer to do it. You can also check out all of the links down below. There are links to Teespring and TeePublic, some cool Trekyards merch. If you guys want to look at the shirts and wait for one of the sales at TeePublic, they have really good sales. They happen quite often. Go take a look and see what tickles your fancy, what you might want to be seen wearing at a con, because we like seeing the Trekyard shirts out in the wild. So, and we got some cool ones. Check them out. Other than that, yeah, just hit that like button. We have 52 likes now. We did hit that 50 goal. Well, with 75 people here, I think we can do better. Get those likes up, guys. And I'll read Olivia's thing in a second here when Sam's done sharing. But yeah, we really want to hear from you though, so please super chat in and help us out with that. We like to get your outside influence and things to talk about, things we might not have noticed or that you think we got wrong. Super chat in and let us know.
Us?
Olivia,
wrong? What?
Right.
What?
Olivia, though, member for 23 months at the rank of captain.
Oh.
Says Una's recruitment poster quote is better than Samuel's recruitment post. Join Starfleet, you cheeky bastards. This episode gets a 10 out of 10 from me. Ooh.
Okay.
Didn't know you had a Starfleet recruitment poster.
I didn't. I guess. Hey, future me, right? Future me.
Or animated you.
A couple of those. We both do, yeah. And there's like 400 posters downstairs of the Trek Shorts cast that have been signed in various stages of custom uniform prints.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So Stuart, hello. This is the big one, and we really want you guys to submit your thoughts and comments as Stuart said. It's the big one.
It is the big one.
First, I will say, how does the episode compare in multiple rewatches? And then, of course, what did you think? Never had time to take it all in. Well,
I've watched it 5 times now. And yeah, I don't need to watch it again anytime real soon. It is better on multiple viewings, though. Every time you notice small little things, like the Boimler walk, the little hip wiggle that he's got, and his run, and his scream. I mean, there's all little subtle details that I didn't necessarily see the first time. First time was really enjoyable. I was just kind of, enjoying the crossoverness of it and really kind of immersed in it. Second time, though, was much better, I think. Knew what to expect, and like I said, could focus on more of the minutia. So it was really kind of great. It's one that's definitely rewatchable, though. A lot of people have said it's one of the best episodes of Trek ever. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a Trekky episode, and it is one of the best crossovers ever. It's quite unique. We were wondering how they were going to do it, and I think they did a fantastic job with it. So, yeah, I thought it was an awesome episode and really fun to watch. I just wish it was longer. They could have fit a little more in there. And I got super excited about some things, and then I got let down right away the first time with the NX reference. It's like, ooh, we're gonna see an NX. No, we're not. Yeah, so that's kind of my take on it. How about you?
Yeah, it's special.
It is special.
It's the last time I did this review. You also said some people saying it's the best episode yet, like one of the best of Trek. It's such an odd concept by itself. I mean, I love Intimate Darkly.
Yes.
Does the crossoverness also make it one of the best episodes? Possibly, but then you look at Measure of a Man and Yes Enterprise and Year of Hell, and this is a Trekkies Love Fest episode. And since it just came off Picard season 3, it seems odd to compare like that level of beyond epicness with this sort of beyond epicness, because they're different beyond epicness. So I would not classify it as one of the best Trek episodes as a quality episode, but crossovers, it's gonna jump up the list, because it's obviously all of the tech, all of the advanced CG, all of the characterizations, like that stuff is gonna be on fire, because of course, they don't use green screen anymore. All the effects are perfect. All these things can be amazing, right? Plus the two they picked, Mariner and Boimler, are very good at what they do. So it's odd to think, there's so many better episodes of Star Trek, but how many episodes of Star Trek is fans of Star Trek meeting Star Trek? I mean, not many. That's kind of the point. But it's very good. It's very enjoyable. It's really a ride. It really is in sort of 3 segments, which I appreciate, because when you think the first bit's over, the next bit kicks in, then it twists, then it turns a bit. Almost all of the internal story beats are actually pulled from a TOS episode or something else. The Orions, the Trekyards, Grain. There's a lot of they've organically pulled from the universe to make everything feel visceral and universal. It isn't just random. Here they are. It's this grander thing that's grander. Dialogue's really clever. The two, I'm sorry to say, but the two lower decks kind of steal the show until Pike gets on screen with his comedic chops, and then he steals the moment. Mm-hmm. And yet the odd line from the odd side character who then steals that moment, because it's a fully comedy episode, right? You can't get that many more comedic bits. And it's funny, and it's clever, and it's adorable, and it's sweet, and what's amazing beyond all that positive stuff is that to give that emotional core about Chapel and Spock's relationship and have it be so incredibly strong grounds it in being a real story as well, and a stepping stone of that journey, and of Pike's death wheelchair story, right? All that stuff gets a genuinely big touchstone moment, which will progress the story in a meaningful way while still being everything else being fun. That is an impressive thing to be able to do. That sort of, integration yet forward thinking. Pretty impressive for an episode. Mm-hmm. Should have been longer, could have been longer. You could easily have had, if you want to go for cheap, you could easily have had Spock get pulled into the portal, could do a lower decks 10 minutes on their timeline, right? You could have, it might have overstayed its welcome, sure, but to have this one be the shortest episode in 2 seasons of Stranger Worlds, and it be the most, by an absolute 1000% mile, the most fan looking forward to, by not even close. I mean, let's be honest, so many people have said, even by episode 2, I can't wait for the lower decks crossover. Last week it was the one before the lower decks crossover.
Yeah.
I think the shortest possible episode ever is even shorter than the shortest Discovery episode. Was a bit odd. Now watching it again, it's packed.
Yeah.
But really? It's like the cheapest episode, because like a third of it is animated, which is cheap.
I kind of feel bad for the last episode. It very much got overshadowed and pushed aside
I
before
mean,
it even
almost
aired.
intentionally.
And then as soon as it airs, it's like, hey, guess what? And it's like, oh, that one's just forgotten about. Good job.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. But people have things to say, shit.
They do. Like Simon Uphill, who's been a member for 16 months at the rank of lieutenant. Really hey guys, what an episode. This was up there with Trials and Tribulations. Enjoyed the love for Enterprise and sly reference to Bell Riots as well. Yeah, didn't catch that the first time, but yeah, that's great.
Blatant in your face riot. Jesus. Love it.
The references are oddly specific, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Mae Julius throws in $5. Says, how tall is Boimler now? In Lower Decks, he's short. In Strange New Worlds, he towers over everyone. I don't know. I think he's like 6 foot, something like that.
Yeah, he's 6 foot, 6'1".
Yeah.
Yeah, he is shockingly tall. I mean, I know the ladies in Strange Worlds aren't tall, but when he's at an entire head above almost the entire cast, and he makes Spock look small. I mean, certainly seen with La'an, she's tiny.
Yeah.
And you can't do much about that. You can't give her high heels, and you can't do anything to make him shorter. So it's like you're stuck with the reality. You can't just animate him smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex A, $2, more crossover. Perhaps Hemsworth as Kirk's dad. Well, Chris Hemsworth is younger than Paul Wesley, but I mean, they could always age him up if they wanted to tie that in. I think he's demand too much of a high salary. And William Shatner would make a good Tiberius Kirk, the grandpa. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Hemsworth is not going to do it for anything less than he's worth, and it'll cost an entire episode of production budget. He'd cost at least $1 million to do it, and that's a third of an episode. I mean, that's the entire cast budget for everyone else. I mean, he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world in theory. There's no reason to do it without being, a giant payday. And there's nothing really he can do in the part. Let's be honest. I'm some guy's dad.
Yeah.
It's not there's nothing there to do unless you make him very dramatic and whatever. Shatner's a far better choice because he can actually add Kirkanisms to it.
But he's way too old to be the dad.
I mean, he dyes hair again. I mean, he's just a fat, older guy. I mean, he lived through... I mean... Well, who says he didn't have... Well, I guess the JJ movie said he wasn't that old when he had Kirk. Hey, look, maybe he went through a shuttle accident and he put on 50 pounds and...
There you go.
Years.
Yeah, he's been stranded or something.
Yeah.
John Ford Jr. throws in $50. That's amazing. Thank you so much, John.
Amazing.
Generally enjoyed, but I sure wished Boimler or Mariner would have mentioned how the aesthetic of the TOS era did not match their historical record consistent with canon. We've been saying that in the lead up to this. Just need one or two quick lines from Mariner going, hey, that doesn't look quite right. Who cares? Something like that would have been awesome. But yeah, they even in the recruitment poster had the slanted nacelles on the ships, which kind of annoyed me a little bit. But considering they've shown TOS Connies correctly in Lower Decks before. So, yeah.
I'm assuming the writers just said, you're not allowed to do that. Like, we're Star Trek now, you can't do it. Do whatever you want with TNG and Voyager and DS9, but don't reference TOS specifically.
We are Star Trek now.
Yeah. Which is a shame, because anything could have been good. A la, the obvious one, he walks on the bridge and says, isn't this big in the museum?
Well, this looks much different in person.
Yeah.
Something like that would have been great.
Yeah, because especially as they explicitly went to the NX-01 at the museum, which means they went to the TOS as well, like, they would know. So they know it's wrong. It's weird they didn't mention it. Just one mentioned. Like the closest they get to is saying the bridge is so large that they can't hear you from the other side of it. Which, of course...
That was just a play on the animation, because they always have these conversations with each other back and forth in the same room, and nobody ever overhears them.
Well, I took it as the bridge is way bigger than it could be, because in the TOS bridge you can hear anything from anywhere if you're listening.
It might have been that, but it's almost... You watch Lower Decks and they're always back and forth with each other, and the other person just beside them doesn't hear them. Just one of those quirks of animation, right?
Oh. No, Scottish Nightmare. Shatner would not be more than Hemsworth. Are you kidding? Shatner's not charging $1 million for an episode. No. Shatner is a washed-up actor, no offense, who's doing small things. Like, he's long past his prime. Hemsworth can easily charge $4, $5, $6 million if he wanted to for a project. Easily. And washed up in the best possible way, right? He's past his prime by 30 years. And still doing stuff! Yeah. He's like one of the biggest, busiest actors out there. Certainly of his age. My God, he's always doing documentaries.
George Mangrum, $5. Jack is 6'3", and Tawny is 5'10". Both very tall. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Although if you put Mariner's hair up, I mean, boy, that is an impressive amount of hair.
It is. Yeah.
Very impressive.
Ray Ricks, £5. Best episode of all Trek. Nowhere near Kurtzman era Trek. I think it's up there. Best episode of all Trek. Let's see. Oliver Lavery Farag throws in, well, he doesn't throw in anything. He's a member for 13 months. He's been throwing a lot in every month. Awesome. At the rank of lieutenant. I know Jack Quaid is in Oppenheimer, but this is the best thing he's done all year. There, I said it. Come at me. Well, he didn't do this year, so let's be fair. He filmed this a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean late last year. It's been a while now.
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah. But yeah, last year for sure. Well, I mean, COVID. I mean, not that you can tell, but he is very good in this. I mean, he really is. Because I don't think that voice is naturally that high. Like he feels like he's putting the character voice, and it's very successful. Because he's very energetic. What's funny though is that I'm pretty sure the actors are much older than Boimler is meant to be, so he's meant to be acting significantly younger. I feel like because Boimler's like 24. I assume at least in his 30s. 31. Okay, so 5 years.
Yeah. Mark Lawrence, $5. Easily my favorite episode of Strange New Worlds. The only way for them to beat it is a series finale that refits the ship to match TOS. Yeah, amen, Mark.
I mean, you give me another hour and 18-minute war drama. I mean, maybe that would be great. As in, like, especially if it's a Klingon one with canon Klingons and D7s and Birds of Prey and,
Yeah. Before I read Matthew DeFreitas's, though, 108 of you here and 68 likes. Hit that like button.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Let's get to 9 months at the rank of lieutenant. Says Boimler does a comment early on about Pike's Enterprise being the second Enterprise. He says it quick, and then Mariner cuts him off. Oh yeah, they're referring to the NX-01 as the first. So
because he cuts him off as saying, or technically, because first,
yeah,
it's a joke about them not being ever referenced the NX-01, which bloody hell, glad they did finally.
Well, it's also a reference to the fact that one was literally the first one in the cage. So it's the first one. Sure. Well, yeah, technically, yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's it for Super Chats right now. But looking to get into this and hopefully hear from you guys. So keep it up. Go vote on the poll if you haven't. 116 votes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we want to hear from you guys. Mm-hmm. It's all about you guys when we do these lives.
It's a live show. We did our review. It was a certain amount of in-depth. This is the live show. We're monitoring the chat. And help this one be a big one, guys. Because, it's a big moment.
Skeleton, Strange New Worlds #1 fans, throws in $5.
You made it.
Even with Discovery, we are enjoying the second golden age of Trek. Are we enjoying the second golden age of Trek? Oh, here's this question again. I'll just give my real quick answer to that every time. I prefer to think of this as the Silver Age, like the Silver Age of comics. All the characters in the main comics got spin-off. They got their own spin-off series. This is the Silver Age of comics for Star Trek for me. A lot of people have said it's the new golden age. I disagree. I mean, Prodigy's been canceled now. We have Discovery tarnishing things. It's not as shiny as gold because of that. I don't know. That's kind of my thought on it. It's just a resurgence. How about you?
This year has been one of the golden years of Trek. Picard Season 3, Strange New Worlds, we'll get Low Decks, which will be good. Resurgence. If any Prodigy came out this year as well, maybe it did, I can't remember, maybe the end of Prodigy Season 1.
Flight of the Protostar. I mean, there's been so much good stuff this year.
So this year has been a highlight year for Trek, but when you have a Discovery season being less good, combined with the Strange World season that's good, combined with the Low Decks season that's okay, fluctuates, versus, any season of TNG of Voyager DS9, there's more good episodes in one season of that than there is good episodes in one of these seasons, just by there being over double as many, right? Plus all the games and comics and and plus this episode is a derivative of all the other episodes because it's a reference episode, as many episodes. So if Silver Age is good. But if we got Legacy, Lower Decks, and Prodigy, then it would be probably the next Golden Age, because then every show would be moving forwards and able to bounce off each other, and that would be... But we're getting close. It's not as if we're not getting close, but... Yeah. It was hard to beat Voyager and Design at the same time, plus like 10 games, audio novels, massive
and Diamond
conventions.
Select having the license for Star Trek and making ships and figures.
You know, you can go meet the entire TOS cast around the world at conventions. You can meet, you know, that's a golden age, right?
Ray Ricks throws in £2 while we give animated some Trek love. Hashtag save Prodigy. Yes. Keep the save Prodigy hashtags going. We need to keep that in the public mindset.
Yes.
Don't want it to slip too far away.
No. It's very, very important. And they did just... There's been rumblings of very good figures in streaming post the campaigns. Go buy Blu-ray, pre-order for Season 1, Part 2. That's an extremely important metric for Prodigy. That is, you know, absolutely a figure they can show streamers, look, we have interest. So even if you don't love Prodigy, believe me, they've got cool stuff coming, they've got cool stuff they want to do. Is it actually available on the UK UK yet? Don't know.
Yeah, I've already pre-ordered mine, at least for Canada, so I found a place to get it.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, just please support Prodigy, because it absolutely deserves it.
100%. Speaking of, hit the like button, guys. Let's get to 100 likes.
Matthew.
We're at 85 right now. We're almost there. 15 more likes.
And vote in the poll. So we start off with Lower Decks. Twit, you had thoughts, because of course this is a Strange Worlds episode.
I kind of wish it started with Strange New Worlds. I was surprised to see it start with Lower Decks, but I don't know, this will get some people that have never watched Lower Decks maybe interested in it. That being said, I did see one person comment on my first reaction live about this, that even though he's a huge Strange New Worlds fan, he will forever and always skip this episode because he does not like Lower Decks. He'll never watch it. And it's such a shame that some people think like that. But I'm glad that it's kind of, maybe some people will be drawn into Lower Decks because of this, but I kind of wish it started as a Strange New Worlds episode, honestly. That's just my thinking.
But X-Star, I'll buy the full season when it becomes available. Yes, it is now available for pre-order. Full season 1 is now available. And it's like I said to someone else, there's no point pre-ordering it a year from now because it won't make any difference. Now is the only time that getting Prodigy Season 1 is going to make a difference to get more Prodigy. Now is the only time in the history of the world. So yes, go get both parts of the season, both available now. Don't wait even a week, because it will not match in the same way in a week. Just
yeah. Ray Ricks upgraded his membership to Captain.
Welcome
aboard, Captain. Oh,
sweet.
You're gonna have a ship. You're gonna have a ship in our fleet videos soon, so keep an eye out, see what ship you're in command of.
Excellent.
And Simon Uphill throws in €20.
Oh, amazing.
Whatever age it is, lately it has been pretty epic. We finally got all of Prodigy in Finland just recently. I'm hoping for continuing seasons of Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and Prodigy.
That'd be a good 3.
Yeah.
And what did you think of Prodigy, the second half?
Yes.
Tell us in the chat.
Eric Martin is here with $10. Can you guys do a Trekyards as animated characters?
I mean, I could swap to animated us, but we have to lip sync ourselves, which means just non-talking. Maybe I'll slowly transition our bodies over the course of the live and just become animated.
Sure. Jill47 throws in $2.
Thank you, Jill.
A good mood thing. I think that means good mood. You sound to be in a good mood, Jill, so it's good to see you.
But I was absolutely happy with the start. It was because that's the joke. This is actually a Lower Decks episode.
Yeah.
Which makes more sense because time travel is a perspective-based thing. It's either, oh no, people from the future, or oh no, we're going to the past. And given that it's all referential based, it makes far more sense being a future perspective show versus if it was a past, then it'd be the concern of them changing history would be the concern versus the concern of telling people things. So this makes way more sense. And it's somewhat more satisfying to see the transition from live action to jump into live action versus just someone appear who you don't remember as being a cartoon. So this works, I think, much better structurally. And of course, yes, Una is there in the first scene. Blink and you'll miss it sort of thing. But yes, they're going to another portal planet. It's one of their favourite portals, because there are many portals.
Well, it's Boimler's favourite portal. But Krolmoth B, yeah.
Yes, but there are lots of portals, lots of time portals. And, the fact is they don't work, then of course they're just, interesting portals.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Matthew Lebner, member for 4 months at the rank of Admiral.
Oh.
Says this episode made me smile from beginning to end, from Boimler's Riker maneuver over the saddle to Mariner mimicking the box that Pike is forever in during the meeting in his quarters. Yeah, she does the chair, and she also does like the burned face thing. So, Marley McClay throws in New Zealand dollars, I suppose. What are your thoughts on the slight redesign of the Enterprise? I personally really like the new neck. Oh, the curved neck in this season. It's not always curved, though. Just saying. It's not consistent from shot to shot. It should never be curved. I mean, it was straight for season 1. It's been straight all through TOS. It just seems like an odd choice.
It's a ship. I mean, the only real problem with this episode is that the Aztecing is just so out of whack. I mean, the ship looked disgusting in so many shots this week of just the 5,000% level plating. It looks disgusting. As a texture artist, it's really, really bad. It just looks ugly. When it's not that, it's okay, but it's really, really gross this episode for shots.
That's the irony. The animated version of it in the opening and the end, it looks white, like it should, and it looks good. It's nice like that.
Yeah, if you took the design and just made it a TOS color scheme, it would look a lot better. And a lot more advanced. I mean, it looks really rustic and like the Titanic. It looks super old and grungy. That's not the look of... I mean, have you seen the interiors? They're gleaming white and crisp.
Maybe there's like an alien they run into that swaps the colors. I mean, in TOS, we had a white exterior and gray interiors. So maybe they just swap the exterior color for the interior color and just leave it like that.
I just hope someone says in some season, guys, can we just change the paint scheme to be proper? I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So much nicer. But yeah, maybe at the end of the season we'll get trashed and refit. It'll be a nice payoff. Yeah, a nice payoff.
Oliver throws in £5. The animated character should be the Colonel and Governor. Shame this isn't Trekyards because Sam would do the voice.
And if you know, you know.
And if you don't know, lucky you. Matthew Lebner, $5. I really enjoy these bottles-like shows when they deal with crew moments and moving the story. Sometimes these are the best treks.
Yeah, I mean, where was the money spent? In a good way. So efficiently spent. Brilliant. Yeah. But no, nice. One of the portals, they're doing portal, just literally just checking it out because they're a low-grade ship, as one of the Cerritos is. Just going to go do basic thing. It hasn't done anything in 100 years, so it's just super mundane. It is weird second viewing, seeing Mariner being so adamantly, I don't give a damn, but later on being, she wanted to. She's really pushing that to the point of like slightly ludicrousness of like, but she asked for it. Stop pushing so hard that you hate it. Like, just be more neutral or annoyed. Like, she's really pushing, I hate this assignment. It's weird that she's lying so much of this episode. She doesn't need to be. It's weird. She's not normally that full on. In the second, it's fine. First watch, second watch, it stands out more.
Yeah. But everybody's so excited to see it. Rutherford wants to scan it. Tendy's like, "This is found by the Orions, yay!" And Mariner's like, "God, you guys are like so excited for nothing."
Yeah, but it's a pretty planet. It's a nice double Stargate.
Yeah.
And obviously, full credit to the mobile Doctor Emitter EMH's hollow camera, which obviously is just a branded camera. Very nice. And it's it's true. We say about Klingons all the time. Well, Tendi at that time, pirates. She's like, shush, no. Because some not pirates are scientists. Because who builds the ships, which we often say. And he's like, yeah, fair enough. But it's true. But if all you hear is pirates, it's like, well, but I like the setup here, and they do mention the Annex 1. They explicitly mention the portal needs this to fuel it, and the Annex 1 had it. Yeah. Like it's all there in the first scene. It's shockingly all there in the first scene. But given all the stuff he's about to deal with, I can forgive him for forgetting, because it's a lot.
Yeah. He does the whole pose, the live long and prosper pose to get the picture, and that activates the thing. Yes. And sucked in. I thought for sure Mariner was going in with him. Mm-hmm. No, I was like, ooh, interesting. Okay. So as you said, you kind of rather enjoyed that aspect of it, that it was just enjoying just him in the past for a little bit. So
yeah, it was definitely a surprise. It was just him. I obviously expected to be pulled in as well. Should try to grab him, be pulled in, great. No, it was a simple Boimler, ups a doodle. And of course, shouting "Remember me" is a ridiculously funny, silly, ridiculous line. Yeah. I mean, joke inside of a joke. It's like, I think at one point they say like Space Seed in one episode in Lower Decks. Like, you shouldn't know that name, but you do somehow. But that's okay. Now, of course, there's a slight issue here in that how is there the fuel material in the portal, given that A, they've not found any 100 years, which means they can't be in the portal because they've done scans every few years, and B, we know that they use all the portal's fuel in the past when they get them back in time the first time. So they run out, they already use the fuel in the past. Are you saying that the portals are linked in time and they use the same fuel? Which means you can recharge at any point in the timeline, which means some other version of a timeline fueled it? What?
No, it's got the fuel in it that they put in at the end of the episode. There's still some left. Pretty simple. It's destination. It's a time paradox thing.
But they've sent crews there to do portal checks every few years. There has not been anything on the portal.
It's because he didn't go through till just now.
But how did he go through? There's portal energy in the portal. He can't go through the portal because there's no fuel in the portal because he hasn't gone back in time to put fuel in the portal. There is no fuel in the portal yet.
Because he hadn't been on the planet to be at the portal yet until now. I don't know. Who gives a shit? There was residuals left in there enough to be activated by the isotopes.
Yeah, I was just expecting some sort of interesting reference, like an alien race just came in and did something and put a material in, because they made very explicit this thing has not seen the fuel, or Galaxy hasn't seen the fuel in 100 years. Well, okay then. It works all of a sudden. And Spock finds it in the past. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, they did say the isotopes from the camera activated something, so who knows? It's fine. All right, Rick, so 2 pounds. The porthole is portholing me. Yes.
That's true, yes, W. Noir. But yes, they go through, and I will say the shift to anamorphic is quite distracting in a good way. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And boy, you really notice that suddenly the show goes from being quite bright and colourful to extremely dark. All of a sudden, because they shoot very dark. It's like, that is a dark show. I mean, everyone's filled with shadow. It's quite stark. The light level just got dropped so radically.
But he's like, you guys look very realistic.
So three-dimensional. Yes.
Yeah. We have a problem.
Yes. We do. You get animated titles, which look to be a re-render of the same ship of the same files, just with a skin applied, which is quite clever.
Way better. Oh my goodness! I love the addition of the space slug though, chewing on the nacelle. That was a nice touch.
That's genius. It's so stupid. I love it. Cause it could have been even more silly, but obviously they didn't want to spend the money. But yes, pretty great. Pretty great.
And then the great koala at the very end.
Yes, all hail great koala. Yeah. Because he could have repowered the gate. You could have seen it right at the end, a little. God, imagine did the great koala in live action like this. This is their chance. Mike's like, put in the great koala. What's odd though is that, as you say, the ship looks so good in the title sequence, and the first shot you see after it is one of the worst shots I've ever seen in the ship. It is so dark.
Dark and ugly.
It's horrid. I don't know why they thought it was a good shot. It's really strikingly bad. this shot of the ship. Planet's great, but it's really terrible shot. Plus, also one of the moons is stretched for some reason. I don't know if you noticed, just like,
Yeah.
what? I think your render got stretched because it looks like it's been stretched, not deliberate. I think that's a misrender.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until this still. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway.
But then we get the Delta being a comm badge. He's like, oh, the flipping, it's the fun part. I know, I like ours better too.
But of course that's weird because Pike had already seen a comm badge as a comm badge 2 years ago in Discovery Season 2 when Section 31 Shazad Latif goes Bloop! So he knows this exists. Now, not that the dialogue says he doesn't know they exist, but he's surprised. He shouldn't be surprised at all. It's almost the exact same shape and size, not as if they got any smaller. So it's funny until you realise Discovery messed things up earlier and kind of ruined the comm badge canon. So we're going to ignore that and say it's a really funny gag. Because, yeah, I like the flip. It's cool.
So we get the computer and program scene. And I love, you get to see the bottom of his boots, and they have the animated, they have the Delta and the star. It's a nice attention to detail.
Yes. Yeah, I love the end program, because of course he'd think that.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very organic here. And he's like, what's the star date? And it's like, yes, five digits, totally normal. Which is, of course, a play on the fact they made odd star dates back in the day. They retconned it in TNG, and then they... But Strange World still uses the old one. Credit to them.
Yeah, he's like, don't, just relax. We know you're from the future. And yeah, I'm about 120 years from the future. You don't look a day over 100. Ah, a funny captain.
Yeah, that's a reverse joke though. He doesn't. It's not. I don't understand that joke.
Just never expected Pike to be funny. I don't think.
No. I mean, no. But Pike's saying you don't look over 100. He's not. He'd be minus 100 because he's not been born yet. If he came from the past, he'd be 100. The joke is literally reversed of the punchline. The joke doesn't make sense. I guess
either way, he had to travel 100 years to get there. So.
Right. But I mean, hey, Anson Mount is on full comedic chops this week. I mean, he is not taking almost anything seriously. Everything has a smile, a gag, a silliness, and he's having fun, chilling out. He's doing half the day, so he's spending the rest of the time with his wife and his daughter, and he's walking on set, having a laugh, leaving set. Hair still perfect either way.
Mm-hmm. I never thought that he was afraid of Una though. Like her reaction here is like, that was weird. And it never comes across that he's like trying to avoid her until like she walks up to them when they're talking in the hallway. But right away she's on it like, do you think you know something about my future? What happens to me? I just thought that was kind of weird first time, especially because I didn't notice anything like he avoided her or anything. But hey.
Yes. So first watch, you think because she's an augment, still illegal. Prodigy says it's still illegal. He'd know, or foreshadowing season 3. Second time, you're like, she's like your favorite inspirational character. The reaction doesn't fit. Like he dressed up as Pike and is fangirling over him. Why is he so negative? The body language doesn't make sense to the character. Only if maybe he did naughty things with the picture in his bunk, then he's, that's gross. But no, this didn't. Yeah, it doesn't work on second watch. And just makes Una feel really uncomfortable. And he must know he's doing that to her. And her backstory, so that's not fair. That didn't work particularly well.
Yeah. But then he finds a classic SCOM's operating system. And I'm like, this is the perfect sign to say, that doesn't look quite right. Looks different in person or something.
Yes.
You know?
I didn't realize the corridors were this big. Yeah. Or if you were very hardcore Picard canon, you could have said, oh, I've been on the New Jersey and the corridors are way smaller. Mic drop. That's all you have to say, right? All you have to say. But I really like... Well, first of all, the height difference. Jesus Christ. I mean, my God, the height difference. He looks like a giant. Although it might explain why...
Everyone in the halls, too. Not just her.
Yeah, that is a very small lady next to her. Even smaller than that. But it also might explain why the sets look so big, because they hired small actors. Because if you raised to his level... it would feel smaller. Well, everyone's 6'2". But I love the continuity here. I love the logic. She's saved the universe ostensibly, so she's far less fussed about this little guy coming back from the... I like this, the almost disconnect here of because like, well, look, mate, just don't do anything. Because actually, no,
on Worf's honor.
Oh, crap. What a guy. But I like the fact that she does know, in theory, that the person who saved her time cop arse could also fix this. And it would have been good, I said in our review, if that time cop lady, who they highlighted 3 episodes ago, was in a scene in the background watching. Just didn't say a line, just was there. Would have been super cool. Because, you know, this is a temporal event. They come and change things, whatever. You already set it up. Would have been kind of cool.
Yeah. Go over the temporal rules. You know, don't influence the past. Don't give out information. And don't get no personal attachments. Don't remember that one. Personal experience. You time travel too? Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite sweet, actually.
I get his ensign's log where he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he should touch anything. Ends up touching the saddle and Riker. I love the Riker thing. That was great. Considering Jonathan Frakes directed this.
But hey, he served with Riker for over a year, or about a year. So I mean, or within a year. So he saw the man do it all the time. Yeah. Although that would have been really sweet actually, if they'd had a Frakes cameo. Because imagine if Frakes had been on the Cerritos with landing party, come through to grab him, so he was in full uniform, Nemesis uniform again, and just pulls him out. It's like, what a giant cameo for 1 second. Yeah, he was there on set.
Awesome, yeah.
Like he was literally there on set. Like he could have, or like the Titan shows up in lower decks and rescues them. It's like Titan's back, and then technically Riker's in Strange Worlds. Oh, that'd have been so fun. Or if Boimler. Because you could probably argue, maybe his comm badge he has like, well, no, his comm badge is recording captain's logs or logs. Mm-hmm. Maybe you could argue it can store data. Imagine if there'd been a moment in the scene where he needs some like a pep talk, and so he plugs his comm badge into the computer, downloads a Riker message, it plays the monitor, live action Riker, from when he was on Titan, and that's how Frakes appears as a cameo, a recording. Like that's his, his speech. I think it could have been him looking older. That'd have been sweet.
Yeah. He talks to Uhura, and my friend Mariner would be freaking out right now. She's like, it's okay. It's got to work. Do what you got to do.
What's it with this episode and characters just walking into sets with other characters not noticing them? Because he's a very polite man. She walks in. He's not that focused on the saddle. She walks in. She doesn't say hi. She's been rude. He's been rude. And then suddenly she says, "What are you doing?" But what?
Yeah.
These are big sets. It takes her a second to walk across. Why is she so? Was the entire time they were ignoring each other? That's not like either of them.
Yeah, never thought about that, but you're right. Later, it's quite obvious in the shuttle, but yeah.
It doesn't make sense, because they're both very polite people. And she's just there. And why is she in the conference room working? Why isn't she at her station? Why isn't she? It's not as if there's much else here. But it's a nice conversation. Stop telling people they're important!
Yes.
Jesus. I know you can't help it, but Jesus.
Then we're down on the planet, and he's staring at Spock. And then he's like, ooh, gets so excited, a classic TS-122 tricorder. Actually, no, it's TS-120. So we know that this is a prequel to the TOS one, and there's a subtle change to the TOS one. That's great.
Now, was that what it was called in an episode?
Sorry, what?
Was it actually called that in an episode of TOS?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it's probably in a technical manual or something somewhere.
Because I don't remember it personally, but I assume that's the gag, that he thinks it's the TOS one, but it's not, because they look so similar. Got to end though, for the excellent time travel prop. Looks great, nice and depthy, confused how it works. I like it.
The new ones are less likely to explode. Did you say explode?
Yeah, and Benga has like 6 lines, and 3 of them are so on point. I assume that's a Trials and Tribulations reference. Because they'd make the tricolor explode.
That's the only one I could think of, but yeah.
Didn't take much, did it? It just... Oh, we got.
Well, no, they attached the combat to it and said to blow it up.
Oh no, you're right. It was the triple exploded.
Yeah.
Nope.
Triple the bomb.
Oh. I'll try cause it explode.
Yeah. We got a freak out by Spock. Thinks it's funny that assigning intelligence to chance struck me as ridiculous. I thought that laugh was really odd. We hadn't seen him like faking laughing before this episode. I love that Umbanga's like, no, this is new. So I'm thinking it's attached to what happened as well with him coming through, but apparently not. But it kind of freaked me out. So don't laugh, Spock.
And obviously, one of his heroes, etc. So for having to do stuff off kilter's fun. I mean, Ethan, creepy smile, but he can smile nice. The fact that you can act a creepy smile.
And Jay Donaldson's correct. Spock's tricorder exploded in Arena. That's right, because the Gorns locked onto the signal and exploded it. He had to toss it. Yes.
There you go.
Gorn reference. That's
we're
gonna see Gorns later.
Yes, but the fact is this new? Is it not new? Yeah, we're delving into the arc more. Boy, without T'Pring's influence of be a good Vulcan, now it's be a human. Boy, he's doing a thing, and it's not as if they're bad things he's doing. Just it's impressive to smile that creepily.
But they get called back to the ship because there's an incoming unidentified vessel. I love how it's like, beam back, they're aboard, come to the bridge, and just the time that all that takes, it's pretty quick, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's funny because then the impetus is that she did the beaming, because over here. Otherwise, that guy in the transporter pad is literally there waiting. Got him! Like it's tiniest thing, but it's very, very quick. But I was very happy. Clearly Orion ship, no ifs, no buts. Visual update done right. Here it is. It's great. Use the cannon, as we always say. Use the goddamn cannon. That's an Orion ship.
Yeah. I do love his point of view of the bridge, though, where he's looking around and he goes to touch the captain's chair and gets told where to stand. And then, Lieutenant Ortegas, you're a war hero. It's like, oh, well, hopefully that already happened, because just saying, to stop saying things like that. I mean, that's part of the point of the character, but...
Yeah, and again, this was the time he should have said, wow, way shiny there, remember? Wow, I didn't put the carpet in yet. Wow, I don't want black reflective surfaces. Like, now's the time to make one joke about it. One.
Yeah, that's a really big view screen.
It's an insanely different bridge to the correct Enterprise bridge. Like, they're not even close in terms of art design, colours. Yeah. It's so different. That was the one thing you could have mentioned. They could have skipped by it. So sad they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to be more annoyed as we go on about the Klingon War stuff. This Klingon War was like 6 months in Discovery. You're a war hero for like... It's a short... It was a bloody war, yeah, but it's like... They say it a war, but it was this little bit of time. It's like, yeah...
Well, later she said she was on the front lines and stuff, but still...
It's a 6 month thing. It wasn't very long at all. I don't know.
Anyway, I have a reason to believe that's a peaceful science vessel. And I love Pike. Do Orions even have science vessels? Yeah, I don't think so. But he takes his advice and goes with it, so...
Yeah, and they keep mentioning, should I listen to you? No. Well, you told me anyway, goddammit. Fine, I'll use your advice. But, it's true. I mean, we don't know much about Orions before we even see their culture. I mean, yeah, actually, and no mention of Orion slave girls either. Actually, yes, that's interesting, because in Enterprise they've taken over the culture, or that's their baseline, and then later on in the culture, yeah, because I mean, no one even mentioned there were 2 Orions as bodyguard people for the guy, but pheromones are a basic thing. They have to be suppressed to do it, and they were enslaved after Enterprise because of the mistreatment of the men. Hmm.
Hmm.
Just not even gonna mention it. Which is odd because wait, Pike had his thing with Vina, an Orion slave girl. Didn't flinch. Like there's not even a hint of that should be a cage. Shouldn't you put a cage reference somewhere there? Because pirates or slave girls should have been the. I guess it's like hmm. He has one experience with them, maybe.
Oh.
But then Guy appears.
And confirms we're a science vessel. And then they beam up the portal. And what do you have to say about that? Well, I just suspect your first officer's mistaken. Or your science officer's mistaken, sorry. And then they warp out. So even though they are a science ship, they are sciencing in an Orion way by just taking the artifact instead of studying it where it was, I guess. So they're still pirating a little bit, but that's just one of those things, It's a cultural thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's the confusing thing. His tone is like, we're a science vessel. It's like, no, you're not. Don't say it that way for a science vessel. Don't be so, like, piratey with it.
Well, I think they don't know better, first of all. I also think that he, later at the end, he says, that's all I've ever wanted. I think he wants to be a scientist, but his government kind of dictates otherwise. So he kind of has to come off like that. That's kind of the vibe that I get
like
from
habit.
It. Yeah.
Because
they don't know how to deal with other people, and they just mystery's better,
So I feel like that's entirely for the audience. He does not give off science vibes, and everything he does until the end is a pirate move, except firing on them, which they make a point of saying he doesn't do. But like, that's very explicitly not science moves. So I know it's a red herring but the audience think, oh, Bourne was dumb. They weren't, Tendi was wrong because propaganda. They were actually pirates. Yes, I get the reason, but in second watch, you're like, if they're actually scientists and trying to be nice, you wouldn't have done what they did. Especially as they do not know it's a time portal. They don't know that. Yeah. So there's no reason to steal the thing they've just got to the planet to detect. There's no reason for them to take it. They don't even know the Enterprise went and scanned it. There's no link between them and the portal in this moment. So I don't know why they've nicked it. And if the Strange Worlds Enterprise was always going to be there, which it was, because they didn't get pulled by the portal, and within half a day, the Orion ship arrived, are you saying the Strange Worlds Enterprise would go to the planet, see the portal, leave within the same hour because it's boring, in the first timeline, and then the Orions come in? Because I feel like in both timelines they would have met the Orion ship and then had a tet for tet, but they would have stolen the portal either way, so I don't get... It's not like the Enterprise crew to leave within the same hour. Even with Grain, you'd spend at least a day. It just seems odd, why is this changed? What do you think?
It's a good question. I think it would have been more of... Pike would have approached it a lot differently had Boimler not been there. Been a little bit more aggressive and standoffish, and maybe force the Orions to raise their shields.
That's what I mean. He said weapons first, so that's what would have happened the first time round.
I don't know.
So yeah, I'm confused by that.
Didn't read the historical mission brief, so I don't know.
Oh, Stuart, that was part of it. And yes, I definitely agree. Tendi, the voice actress, should have been not the captain of the ship. That's fine. Just one of the two people and had a line.
Well, there's a lady standing behind him the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's two ladies at the portal with him. One of them could have been
obviously, right? And then they should have had the Rutherford actor be some other random officer on the Enterprise, just randomly, and then they hear the voice, you go, Rutherford? And the guy's not Rutherford, but it's the actor, and it's like, oh, that's a
my
great...
name's Sullivan.
Yeah. Because then you could have had all four be in it, which would have been amazing. Really amazing. But I guess, flying to... Because they don't film... Well, they were locked down in pandemic, right? They had to get special permission to... they had to go specifically. I guess flying in the pandemic, 2 actors for a cameo each across the country through the pandemic, get them into uniforms just for one line each, I guess isn't worth the $20,000 to do it, I suppose. But thematically they should have done it, I think.
Anyway, then we get Una and Pike talking, and it's I made a mistake. I shouldn't have listened to the ensign. But for a
Stop
minute
doing
there,
it
you know,
then.
for a minute there, I thought my future wasn't so bad with the way he was like
Yeah.
talking about me and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I get that, but he seems like terrified of me.
Yeah.
Uh,
We are a bit mean sometimes, so. Yeah.
And Eric Martin, $5. Pike kept going along with whatever Boimler said for most of the episode. Big mistake.
Yes, he did.
It was comedic. It was good.
Yes.
Anyway, where is Mr. Boimler? And he is down in the bar, and he gets confronted by Ortigas and Chapel. And they mess with him a bit. I don't know what you're doing on that pad, but don't input any future technology. I'm just messing with you. No, but seriously, you should probably delete whatever you just did.
He's so genuine here. He's like, oh, yeah, probably. Oh. Yes.
Yeah. And then Chapel asks about chronoton poisoning. I feel like you're gonna vomit yet? It was a good scene. It was funny.
Sort of felt like they were flirting with him as well. There's definitely that air of not saucy, but like really free, fun. Yeah. You know, it was fun. It was chill. I love the fact that they highlight two Andorians walking by, which we've not seen on Enterprise yet.
Yep.
That's great, and considering how much money that took to put them in that makeup, good for them. They keep throwing Andorians in, Tellarites in the background with the correct hands. These heads feel to me more like Andorians from TOS. Awesome, and that canon, I'll take this as canon. You know, them being on the ship, I love. Yeah, aliens are aliens, but you guys are the frontier. You guys are exploring.
The golden age of exploration, yeah.
Yep, still thought that way. That's how Dreamweaver said it. Yeah, it's nice.
And they talk about movie night on Friday, and he's like, for Pike's birthday? Wait a minute, it's Pike's birthday. Yeah, in the future, it's a holiday. Crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. Should we throw a party? Yeah, I think it's... I'll say it's all because of you. Don't put my name on anything. And he's like, please don't tell La'an I said that. Like, it's great. It's very Boimler-y.
Yeah, this is definitely a lower deck scene inside of the Strange Worlds crossover, which is good. So I like that. And it's nice, you know, oh dear. Captains and their birthdays, eh? That was good.
We got a smiling Spock waiting for Chapel, which freaks him out. I don't know if they're exaggerating the smiles, like, to be from Boimler's point of view, but the really creepy smiles are a bit much. And even the music there is very, like, ominous.
Well, I mean, 2 smiles in one day means that Spock's got brain disease. I mean, that's the only answer, right? It's amazing that's a giant plot point in the episode, right? That Spock smiles. That's crazy. Because, of course, in this timeline, in Boimler's universe, he's still out doing ambassadoring. You know, and if you take Resurgence as canon, he's back to doing ambassadoring after his Romulaning. Because, you know, he shouldn't just be on Romulus for 30 years. That's boring. So, you know, like, I know Spock. Like, you know, he's around.
Then he chases down Chapel, and he does the Boimler run. He's got that exaggerated run, which is funny.
Which my mum actually said that everyone else walks casually because it's real TV, but animation you would run because who cares, right? And so you juxtapose the vibe. But yeah, that fits.
Well, even later when he walks away from Una and Mariner, he's got that hip wiggle going on, like the walking really fast.
And I believe I read that actually was the Boimler actor who remembered that was a thing, that no one remembered that because it's one part of one episode, right, from season 1, and he remembered and put it in. Good for him, because yes, yeah, it's quite distinct. Yeah, this scene is superb, really, really, really good. I know that the Chapel actress, you could argue overacting, but it's so from the heart, it's so raw, and because they're both doing it from different directions emotionally, time versus emotion versus, you know, weight of the universe, it's really, really good scene. And you know, yes, she might not have been in every episode fully, but this scene, as an actress, you got to think, damn, I earned my paycheck that week. What happens, Stuart?
Basically, he asks if he's created a butterfly effect with Spock because he's acting weird and everything he knows about Spock is no jokes, no laughs, whatever. And she's like, maybe he's doing a thing. Maybe he's having a moment, you know? Maybe he's like, and then Boimler realizes, he's like, oh my God, it's you. You're the reason that he's changing. And then he feels really bad because he just basically told her the future of Spock and how he has to be in his timeline. Yeah, and she's like, I never intended to change him. That wasn't my intention. I didn't expect this to last long, but I think she realizes it has to end sooner than later now. Yeah, so it's a very emotional scene when you actually like, look at it from Chapel's point of view, because she has that realization that it's not going to last, the relationship. So,
but she does, she doesn't know what she wants, and they made a point of saying it's a Schrodinger's relationship. It is until it isn't. But she's in her brain all going through the future in her head. Did she want to be with him forever? Maybe, maybe not. Had she thought about it? No. Yes, maybe. Hello. Did she think she could change him, make him better? Yes, no, maybe. All these things are in her head. But I liked him who he was. Yes, no, maybe. I did, but he can hug me now, sort of, sometimes. It's a lot of things going through her head that she was having a really nice time dating him as of 2 seconds ago, and now she's been told no. At least what you've done is no, which clearly tells her that she's not there.
Well, the simple answer is what Michael Williams just said, the lift convo that fixes Spock for TOS. Yeah, because a lot of people have been saying this isn't Spock from TOS, and now he even, when he talks to Boimler, he's like, I must surmise that my reaction to my experiment with emotion, I know Boimler, must you surmise that?
Yep.
It'll fix Spock and turn him into TOS Spock, which is everybody's big complaint. So,
well, it'll put a giant halt in their relationship. Even if she tries to encourage his Vulcan side, he'll think she's being like to Pring. Maybe, they were in a honeymoon phase, right? Yeah. Turns out honeymoon is shorter than they thought. But yeah, as I said in another review, if you're going to do such a left field turn of having him get with Chapel over his to Pring thing, fine. Have an out planned. This is a hell of an out. A time traveler expressing how important Spock is. He's a non-negotiable, fixed character. You cannot remove him from the timeline in any meaningful way because it will change everything. No, it's great. The acting is superb, and to see the emotional disconnect between the two of them because they're on different levels is fun. Yeah.
Boimler's responsible for Spock of all of canon.
Well,
because this could have been a turning point in his life. He could have chose to embrace his human side more and be more emotional, but
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, excellent scene.
And then they have no way of tracking the Orion ship, and Boimler's like, I could. Just don't look. We can't not look, can we? Silly scene again, very Lower Decks style comedy. Even him hanging by the wires while he's fixing stuff.
Yeah, they found a few organic ways of putting it in there. But I love this. Again, same thing with Intimate Darkly. That 100-year gap is the difference between I did it at school for a science fair to cutting-edge tech. And if he, not to say if he built the ship in a bottle, which he did, he would know how the systems work, but he would know far more advanced sensor tech, the simple basics of that. I mean, he's a part of the, the mechanic School of Engineering, that's stuff he does in basics. I'm sure it's a very simple modification. I like that, and can we not look? I guess. I wish they'd said as well answers, and I'll delete all computer records. Okay.
Because they'd also have to switch everything back afterwards too, because it's already been reconfigured.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that's in the context of the scene, right? Not looking also means not remembering. But I love all their faces, and it's a although normally there's more people on the bridge. There was every other scene. There's now only 5 apparently. All the main officers. It should have been like everybody, like all 10 bridge cast. Oh, you're the person that sits at helm 2, and you're the person that sits at engineering 3. Because there's a lot of people on the bridge earlier in the episode.
Yeah.
But it's funny.
I love that he gets caught up in the cords. So Boimler, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, and this is the other disgusting shot of the Enterprise. That Aztecing is horrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But
Moving on.
here he's like, we've got to be careful. We can't injure anybody over on that ship because we have a friend who's an Orion, and her grandmother's on that ship. And then he compliments Pike by saying, "Your diplomacy, you have many strengths. Your patience, forgiveness, benevolence, really great hair." I love Pike's reaction to it too. He's just like, "All right, hail the Orions." Pike just kills it.
I think people have also compared Boimler's hair a little bit to Pike's hair. They're both very good hair. So for them to bond over hair is very apt. And yeah, certainly Pike likes a fan. Because clearly he's celebrating it.
Mm-hmm.
Stop listening to him though. God damn it, stop listening to Boimler. But Stuart, I'm going to swap the poll because we have a lot. We have 209 votes.
Ooh.
I asked you all, is this the best episode of Strange New Worlds Season 2? A stonking victory, Stuart, at 67%. Yes.
Wow.
19% joint best, which is still a best. And 14% no. So almost everybody thought yes, it was. Thoughts on that, Stuart?
There are really great Strange New Worlds episodes. We can't take anything away from Strange New Worlds. I feel like just because it's a crossover episode and it's referencing different things, and it's also like it's the most Star Trek-y of Star Trek episodes because of the Lower Decks references. I don't know if people are thinking straight. I don't know if it's the best episode of Strange New Worlds. I think it's
I did say just season
funny
2
episode.
though. That was my clarification on that one.
Yeah, it's the most fun to watch of season 2. I would say. Sure. But best for just Strange New Worlds, I don't know. I don't agree. 135 people watching though, and 120 likes. That is awesome. That was going to be my next goal, but we already just hit it. So I'm going to up it to 150. Hit that like button if you haven't. Keep the super chats flowing. We want to hear your thoughts on these scenes. Anything that we missed, anything you want to talk about, you can control the conversation by super chatting in.
Yeah.
Don't forget to vote on the poll. The new one is: should there be more Lower Decks live action crossovers or new content live action? Yes, more Lower Decks in live action, and nope, leave them in animation.
Yes.
Go vote.
And we do really need these super chats to keep doing what we do, so support us if you can. Because like a few fives, that you know, it's that simple, etc.
Show your support for our channel and support for this episode by super chatting. Because it all adds up and it all means a whole lot. So
yes,
please do.
But then you have a fun little exchange where the Orion boy plays it cool. He's like, "Oh, hello. How crazy finding you here." And Pike's like, "Yeah, we tracked you, whatever." Anyway, you know that portal you stole? No. Well, Spock said he did it. He's mistaken. What a cold, calculating guy. Like his vibe is so pirate, like chill pirate, which is why it's funny he's not. But you know, yeah.
And he's like, "Now this portal, persuade me to return it. How would you like to be persuaded?
Yeah.
Any suggestions? Not you. Fair."
Not fair. He's the guy that tracked him.
Can you tell Captain Pike that the Orions like to trade? They consider it like, you know, a thing. I can hear you from over here, Ensign. I'm sorry, I thought the span of the room. I just thought that was a reference to the silliness of Lower Decks, where they have conversations in front of people that they don't hear. We pointed that out a few times, actually.
Look at that bridge. They make a point of this shot, how far away he is.
It could be both.
I think it's both. Yeah, it's a good joke in that respect. Plus, it's like, Spock, my friend, help me here, please. And boy, Pike is dear. And hey, the grain, I love it. TOS transformations reference, love it. Because you know
it's different grain. It's trichotrilocalene, not quadritilocalene. It's different grain.
Ooh. So 3 versus 4.
Yeah, and in Tribbles, it was Sherman's planet. This is a different planet, but still, it's a grain that's designed to grow in harsh conditions.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, you understand the impact of what this could mean if you know TOS. That this is actually a big thing to do. And hey, Pike, I mean, what a move. He's like, yes, I'll give it, knowing that he just signed this entire colony's relocation warrant, which is not what he'll be happy about, but of course change the timeline. Like, big choice he makes, and he's a bold captain to do it in that sort of chill way. Yeah, I think Boimler assumes they can just make more quite easily because of the future. He can just do that, not realizing that's actually a giant thing he just did.
Yeah. Yeah, the one in trouble with tribbles is quadritrilocaly, and this one is tritrilocaly. It's a TRI instead of the quad at the front.
Which is funny. 3 before 4. That's logical and silly.
Which you can't really hear. It sounds the same, but when you watch the closed captions, you see it.
Yes.
Anyway, they have enough for a single trip left in the portal. So there was stuff in the portal to begin with.
Yes.
But
anyway. This is the first time they discovered it. So this was the initial. And it's interesting because I guess the Orion's lair, they swapped it, they beamed it over, they deposit it back here. And this is quite a sweet goodbye. And I think as an audience, if this was the goodbye, it served the role of the story. And it was like, ooh, where's part 2 going to be? Right? Because we haven't even seen Mariner. We know she's here. What could happen next? I don't know.
I knew this was, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh shit, she's going to come flying through right away. Yep. Yeah, it was a nice goodbye, you know. Just don't come back, Ensign. It's been an unexpected day for all of us.
Yeah, he worked so hard to almost say it was good to meet you.
Well, he did. He said it was the best experience of his life.
No. Pike.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He's like, it wasn't nice to meet you, though. So, it was a day.
You're an ensign. You're nobody ensign from the future that I don't know anything about. I'm not a living... You're not a living legend like I am to you.
Yeah, but he was a fangirl for him, you know.
Yeah.
Made his day better and more complicated. And then all of a sudden, the pool turns on, and you obviously imagine Mariner like, oh, pool's on! I'm going for it! That's it. That's because she didn't turn it on.
Well, I like how she says, I did it. Like she was fiddling with stuff. You can imagine her with like a Klingon dagger, like jiggling the panels and stuff, trying to get to work.
Rutherford's like, where are you hiding that? Oh, my boot. Oh, okay. Giant. It's a Metcalf.
Yeah.
And welcome to Mariner.
She's like, you guys are all great, but is Uhura here? And she says a lot of things that you can't really hear that well talking. She goes, oh, the uniforms. Ugh, the ranks on the sleeves. I don't know about that. And then you see he's got the old thingy. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yep. Pretty much. And Pike's resound
5 to beam back
is great. Yeah. Really good. He is a comedic actor. He was not hired for that, but boy is he.
And as Captain's log, our troubles have doubled. Now we have 2, which is a lot.
Yeah. And this is when you appreciate the actors who had said when they walked on set, their speed of delivery was so much higher than the cast, they burned through pages quicker than expected. Because they only have 22 minutes per story. They zip through dialogue, and in the few scenes you see them together by themselves, they are talking quick. I love it, because they're just going through dialogue. It's very in character. It feels very them.
And then you have that moment in the shuttle. Notice how slowly everyone talks here? I know, and quiet, too.
Just so true.
Yeah, here they mentioned the Bell riots. For all I know, you were stuck in a dystopian San Francisco in the middle of a riot. The Bell riots. Yeah, it's great. And Mariner is surprised by how attractive Spock is, young Spock.
Which he can obviously hear. There's a very slight turn and like it's very subtle because we already made the joke before, but he doesn't react. But you know, there you go. Mariner and other women, everyone likes Spock. Let's be fair.
1, time travel is a problem. 2 is a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're out of the. She gets in shit for coming through, and she's like, "My defense, there's like 0 instructions." And then she gets the look, and you hear the squeak as her hands like slide along the desk. It's great.
Yeah, she's a wonderfully honed annoying in the scene.
Yeah,
because the character is entirely used to being protected by her mum from getting in trouble, flaunting not just the rules but the way you talk to superiors, the speech pattern of the future, the intensity of the future, and she doesn't really do time travel that much. Or when she does, it's holodeck related and she's having fun. So she is entirely in like gear 9. Boimler has got himself into gentle gear 2 after coming in as gear 4. Like, he's a good place, and she's just like it's fun though. It makes sense. She's raucous and it works.
I like how he's like, this is serious.
Yeah. It's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, they need more heronium, and there's none around. There hasn't been for over 100 years. And Mariner suggests just cooking some up. You just synthesize it yourselves. And if anything goes wrong, we could blow up half the ship. Okay. And she volunteers. Well, first of all, we find out the Uhura is locked away in her cabin trying to decode the thing. And she's like, hey, I know linguistics. I can help her.
I don't think she's telling the truth, to be honest.
No, and Boimler's like, linguistics? Seriously? Don't screw this up for me, or I will end you. I will kill you. And then she volunteers him to help out Spock. And Spock makes a joke about losing his hand.
Me no other know. We're reviewing the episode, and we look for things we want to talk about. Or you super chat your thoughts.
We read all the super chats for sure. We do look at the chat, and we mention specific things, but we're not ignoring it.
It's up to us. It's a chat. We pick.
We have a time limit. We have a flow. We just do our thing. So
you've been this enough, you know. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, no other. That's a name we see all the time. So, man.
Yes. Yeah, it's cute. But I still don't get the logic behind the material. Because if NX era ships were made of it, there's loads around. All the mothball fleets have some. All the museums have lots. There are civilian ships still with them. It's super abundant.
Yeah, there would be. Because in the beginning he says it's super tough, super light, like super durable. It's using the NX-01 construction.
Like it's a random pipe.
Perfect shade of gray.
Like it just seems odd because I feel like, I mean, they didn't talk to the engineer, but the engineer would know. Oh yeah, there's like loads at Depot 19 where they have the old X fleet. Like it's easy to get. There's a plethora out there. Not locally necessarily.
Yeah.
I just thought odd.
They said there's none in the sector. That
Yeah.
hasn't been for a long time, is what they say. So.
Yeah. It just. Yeah. And why were we making it out of it if it's that hard to get? Do we just mine the only amount of it in the quadrant? Is an odd material to invent out of whole cloth that's both so important and so rare. It can't really.
Well, they probably have something better now. That's the thing. It's just an older material. Ray Ricks though throws in 2 pounds. This is perfect Mariner, so chaotic. Yeah, chaotic. Good word for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, let's be honest. She is certain she'll get home. He is not, so she can have fun with it. That, I guess, also the context difference.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he runs again down the corridor. It's always running. She's so lounging. Yeah.
And he's kind of annoyed that she volunteered him to help Spock because he's already helped Spock, and she's like, I was just trying to tick off one of your weird little boxes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, I've always wanted to visit this time, but now that I'm here, I just don't want to get stuck here because then we'd have to go off the grid and can't affect anything. You can't join Starfleet to be a part of history. He doesn't want to have to, like, not be able to influence things. And it's terrifying to think he'll be stuck in the past. So,
and it's certainly funny. You know, she likes to be on the grid. The grid's where she thrives.
Yeah.
Because of course, she looks like she's off the grid because she's a doesn't care officer. She does. She just works around it. It's that weird side note of the character. She does need authority to break it, to have fun inside breaking it. It's a good reference to that later. It's a funny old. Yeah, she can't just live and not be.
And Mino Other says explains the NX. The gray NX-01. Yes, but you say that, but this ship is the same color gray.
Yes. A little bit darker.
With black charcoal shit all over it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yes. And then Boimler does his wiggle walk away, and it's fantastic.
Stanley says, does Mariner roll up her sleeves? Yeah, they're up. They're folded up.
And the actress said they were pre-sewed up, so she had no choice but to have them up.
Interesting.
It's not her choice.
The Scottish Nightmare, remember for 38 months at the rank of ensign?
So many times.
Surprised they didn't have a security escort.
Yes. Me too. It would have been nice, it would be easy to have La'an in every scene. That would have been all you need to do. And then she could have, like, Yeah, about temporal stuff would have been kind of probably overdone. But no, I'd like this scene a lot between the two of them because in first watch, you're not sure if Mariner actually knows what she's saying. In second watch, it's clear she's, like, they are so much more in the future that no one has pin-up calendars of naked women anymore. It just doesn't happen. The concept is so unusual that she doesn't even think.
Well, Rebecca Romaine has pin-ups out there in real life. That's another reference to that as well. So.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
But obviously this is pre-TOS, so she's in her 40s, 50s, so she's only, much nearer to our time, so the context is lost, which I like. Whereas, like, I mean...
It's a poster and it's pinned on the wall. Are we talking about the same thing?
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. So it's a nice, you don't know, things just change over time.
Yeah.
And Una's like, he does things...
And Oliver throws in 10 pounds.
Ah.
I love the live-action version of these characters. The subtleties in their face when they deliver their dialogue says so much about the relationship. Great performances. Such a joy to watch.
Yeah, they rock out live action. And isn't Mighty Man thrilled that he made the animated people look like the real people to some extent? Because if they look different...
Yeah. And Dr. Tiz King, remember for 4 months at the rank of ensign, says, I think that the Heronium is depleted and not near. Yeah. Just the zone of the sector, they say.
Yeah, but they say it's super rare. It's a super big point.
Yeah.
He's...
Yeah, Scottish Nightmare says, Google Rebecca Romaine pinup. You're welcome. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was referring to. It was a funny inside joke. But
I mean, yeah, they can do double jokes and double jokes, so...
And we got Mariner here sitting like Mariner does in the animated one with her legs, holding her legs like that. She does that quite a bit.
Yeah. I noticed.
Yeah. But this whole, you're really important, you're like unflappable, you're amazing. She's like, I'm only 22. This is a hard thing to like think about and live up to, and makes a good point. We know the history of Uhura. She doesn't. You'll do a fan dance for naked when you're like 60 for a bunch of creepy men in a desert.
I mean, 60 is only middle-aged. It's under middle-aged, yeah. It's fine.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I mean, Patrick Stewart was trying to be a French man in his 90s, yeah. He trying to play as the evil man in his 90s, yeah. Yes. I kind of wish that at some point in Lower Decks, Mariner had any appreciation for Uhura.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of out of the blue, because she's not a linguist. Uhura's not, like, she's not really the fun, like, she's some fun. She's a nice balanced character, right? She's not Mariner, and it's odd that Mariner would look at her and think she both played hard and also worked hard. I should look up to her. It's like, I guess? I mean, I'm sure loads of people did.
Yeah.
It just seems odd that she was that... It would have been better if she had multiple people to lob onto in a good way, like different parts of her personality, perhaps.
Yeah.
This, and this. Maybe she even... I mean, it's really, really obscure, but what if she had actually loved Mbenga because she knew his daughter storyline? And she's like, you broke all of the rules to save your daughter, I love you for that. Like stuff like that. She could have known things about several characters about their rule breaking, but end up being a good thing, which is what she lives by, right? So it's nice scenes. It's just odd that she's this, her is the one, with no setup really behind that.
Aeon though throws in $5. The crew might mention Boimler's visit in their logs. If so, is Boimler in the history books now, like Sisko's photo, and Pelia must cameo on Lower Decks. Pelia cameo on Lower Decks would be interesting, yeah.
That'd be good, actually.
And it's almost like they set it up for that, because that conversation was completely pointless, honestly.
Yes, it was weird.
And will they mention Boimler? I mean, they'll probably mention something of this. I don't know specifically. I know they're keeping the Pike thing secret in the future. It's at the end of the trailer for the next season of Lower Decks. You know, that Pike thing we can't talk about.
That was great. I'm very excited to have them not talk about this episode in their episode. That's exciting. And Hypno Amber, Sam, when are we going to get a uniform breakdown video? I'm loving how they did Lois uniforms. Stuart, when did we film said video?
We filmed that this morning.
There we go.
It'll be out. Don't worry.
It's a long day today.
Yeah.
And yes, Scottish Nightmare. They wouldn't mention Boylan by name. There wouldn't be any scans of him. There wouldn't be any mentions of him. No, they wouldn't. They would respectfully say maybe we had a visitor, like entirely vague, no mentions. Because if what's his name? What Boimler? Brad Boimler. If he was in the records, Bradwood, then that would be flagged as soon as he went to the academy, and then no, you just wouldn't mention him.
Yeah. But she convinces her to take a break.
How'd you do that, Stuart?
By using regulations to slack off.
What?
She knows all the regulations.
and the point that she makes is live by them, die by them, have parties by them, because some of them are really ridiculous. You can take time off. Love it. Because that's the thing. She's not just against the rules. She's actually very rule orientated. That's how she knows how to get around them, because she knows them so well. That's actually a very important character point. And her is rule follower too.
And yes, me no other. Talia did give him good advice to be the hero, and that's why he decides to help the people with the grain and send the signal. But still, it could have been anybody else. It was just weird that it was her. It just came out of nowhere for me. Him being in engineering.
Yeah, engineering more than anything else. It would have been another set, but engineering was the weird one.
But that would have been a good conversation for the bar, let's be honest. Because that's where you'd probably go. I don't know why he would go to engineering, or why he'd be allowed in engineering. As everybody said, he should have a security detail on him.
Well, it would have been fine if they had walked in saying, it was not this big before. Like, they could have made this really big. Especially, Stuart, as we've now seen the shuttle bay. This room takes up the rest of the hull. And we saw the shuttle bay, we saw the cargo bay where Hemmer falls off of, which is also as big.
Yeah.
That secondary hull is 4 rooms. For fuck's sake.
Pretty much, yeah. Ray Rivera, member for 7 months at the Rake of Ensign. Great surprise, out of sync episode. Cheers, Captain. Thank you, Ray.
And that is the irony, yes. They release a time episode out of sequence with itself. Yes. There's a joke, there's an irony to that.
BJ Turan, $2, hot dog money. Thank you.
Yes.
Actually, they did the same thing with Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. They released it a day early, and then they pulled it back. Because a lot of people watched it early.
Oh yeah, it was
streaming services early.
Was it Canada? It was.
It was Paramount Plus and Crave.
Right.
Yeah. It was out a day early. People had watched it, and then they pulled it. And then I thought because it was a time travel episode, they did that on purpose.
And me no other. Yes, he went to engineering because the sound of the warp core relaxes him. Well, they say a lot of things. Anything could be offhand, but he does like the warp core sound. That is true. In his first appearance, they holodeck several things, and he likes to have warp core. Yes, there you go. It's because there's no warp core. There's a giant room with giant steam things that don't make it. There's no warp core that you can.
There's no steam things in this one. That's JJ.
Big tubes. There's no warp core. There's warp core. But yes, that's true.
Ray Ricks, £5.
Thank you.
The Una thing with Mariner thing was more of a meta commentary on Una's significance to culture. Yeah, like the actress's significance. She used to be like in Swimsuit Illustrated and stuff like that, yeah.
It's funny because I didn't even know she was Mystique until Peel told me she's Mystique. Because you can't tell she's Mystique. She's never in the show. Like, I know her from nothing else, ever. I did not know who she was. Correct name.
She's in Family Matters.
What's that? Well, I think I know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, American shows, say in America, the sitcom-y stuff. Like, really big shows make it across the world. But some person in a swimsuit model magazine isn't going to make it, from the 70s, isn't going to make it to, most places.
It's also way before your time. This is back in the 80s.
Like, I know Marilyn Monroe, but she was actually, world famous.
Oh, that's different.
That's what I mean. So, it's a meta joke, but it's not going to carry,
Trust me, all the people my age, even Britain, probably know about Rebecca Romaine.
Really? So she
married Stamos because they were working together on family matters, and she was Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and then they got divorced, and she took the Stamos off her name. That's how I know her, Rebecca Romaine Stamos.
So she was actually a big get for you when she got Stranger Worlds or Discovery.
Not for me. I never liked her.
Oh, okay.
I was never a fan. I knew who she was, obviously, but yeah.
Cool. I
Anyway,
like this scene. It's a good scene. This is a good drinking scene.
Good Artigas scene as well. Makes some Orion hurricanes, and you can see Uhura like working, like it wasn't subtle at all. And people were freaking out that was Bajorn and Cardassian. Would we know about Bajorns and Cardassians? Yes, we would. We just wouldn't know very much about them. We know their territory and stuff. Like we know, so it's not a huge stretch. They're probably near there, so that's why she's like scrolling through those ones.
Yeah, that's a funny one. You would know. Bajor and Cardassia are very close together. Really close. Stupidly close. That's kind of the point. And we've actually explored further out, because in TOS, they've gone 5 mission out. Those 5 years are way further. It doesn't take 5 years to get anywhere in Federation space. So clearly, if we've gone that far direction, we might have gone this far in another direction. So, and also, I think the Vulcans have met Cardassians, but they weren't a major power. They have enslaved Bajor at this point already, but yeah, I mean, she's just accessed the Vulcan database, the Federation database. She's doing a big search of every single name. They mean nothing to her specially. So they're not special planets. There are dozens, hundreds of planets. They're just 2 for reference sake, and that's okay.
Ray Rick shows in another 5 pounds. It says, spelling mistake. I meant Uhura, the character's significance to black culture in the 60s.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, with Mariner. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a really fun. It's very small, as like a footprint scene, but they play it off so like smoothly. These actresses, they just sort of zone through the dialogue and are really like they have a fun little banter and chemistry. And Nausicaan, ancient Nausicaan. Now, you had a really good point about this in another review, which is a very salient point.
Well, if the Nausicaans created the time portal, which they did, now they're kind of like Domjot. they're not that bright. Yeah, they don't seem that bright. Could they have invented time travel and went back and screwed up their own culture by making a mistake in the past? So the time travel device exists, but their culture is now way set back. Yeah, that's kind of the impetus. Like that's what I thought about this. Because you don't see them as building time travel devices. Because if they would, they'd go back and like mess up the Federation. Maybe, who knows? Anyway,
I've always liked Nausicaans. I know they're predators, but not. I like Nausicaans. They're in multiple famous episodes, and the fact they mention Earhart Base, which I did not realize would be this old, which is an interesting point. Obviously that's the one that Picard got stabbed in. Is the base. They also go to it in Lower Decks as well. In season 3, with similar references and jokes.
She didn't say she ran into a Nausicaan. She said she was offered the set, the Domjot set.
Yeah. So. Although she knew the name, and you would assume that they would then say, like, she knew Nausicaan as well, the name Nausicaan. So she would have been told at the bar, "Oh, these guys come in and play sometimes because they're not all douchebags, and here's the thing." But I love the emotional context as we're just freely talking about it. Mariner, oh yeah, Nausicaans, we hang out, like, I know loads, like, it's fine, it's all good, like, yeah, some are dickheads or whatever, fine. Versus, oh yeah, that race that we might sort of know, that's this... I love that, the Marina's so chill, because they're so basic, and we see, I think, in the trailer for 4, I think, she's fighting Nausicaans, or is that 3? But she fights Nausicaans pretty recently. Yeah, Nausicaan time travel. Given that, hulls
they're very
made...
Klingon-like. You know what I mean? Like, they're very warrior Klingon-like.
But given that this material to power the drive was so readily available at one point, it was in our NX ships, which means it was that close to Earth space that we could mine it to build for the NX. We did not warp that far away before the NX was made. So that material is very close to Earth's system. Really close. And that's all it takes to power a time device. That's an advanced device to take basic materials.
HypnoHammer makes a good point. I bet they didn't make the portal. They just put a warning on it. Because the warning literally, once it gets translated, is this is a time device or a time portal. That's what's on it. It's not like instructions. It's not like technical. It's basically, this is a time portal.
I did not take that as a warning. I took that as...
I didn't either.
You know,
but it's an interesting point.
That classic little printer thing that you type in and you put it over objects. That's just a little printed, you know, label maker, right? I took it because they just did label maker over. So I'm fully committed it's a Morsican device. Because I love that idea that, you know, their culture diverged 2,000 years ago, and then it's really gone downhill since. Really adds a whole new dimension to their characters, but also entirely relevant, because they're also long dead, those that made it, or time paradox themselves. Great. It's really fun. And what an odd... And it would have been fine if it was a Preserver, or a Tacon, or a Iconian. Nah. Norsicans. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Could have been Kazon for all, you know, for all the difference that makes, but it's good.
I love the whole, Ortegas, you're genius. It's true, I am. Why?
And also, as they did in the first scene with the NX setup with the material, these drinks are the setup for the joke later. It's all there.
Yep.
These things really mess you up. Yep.
Kyle Wong, 10 pounds. Hey guys.
Hey.
Just joined, so not sure if this has been addressed. Why would Starfleet or the Orions leave a working time travel machine lying around? Well, it wasn't working. It didn't have the power source. But it did at the same time.
Yeah, they say it hasn't done anything in 100 years.
Maybe after the last visit, somebody went there, put some uranium in, time traveled,
yes,
and come back, and there was a little bit remaining.
Yep.
That's what set it off initially.
Ooh.
There's a story there.
There is. Maybe it's a Trek short story.
Exactly.
That's Stuart. I did not. That's the most obvious reason. Yeah, obviously, someone just used it and then miscalculated. And there's like a 1% left. It was just enough. Yeah, that's great. Actually, that's really good. And it wouldn't be that hard a device to rebuild either. No, that's great. But I mean, there's so much tech, right? I mean,
yeah.
Especially if you can't rip stuff from NX hulls. It is a bit daft what powers it, fine. But
and they didn't know it was a time travel device. It was just a portal. It could have been...
That is true.
Could have been to another sector. It could have been another galaxy. They didn't know until Boimler came through. And it's like, oh shit. And then they just deciphered the Nausicaan that said this is a time portal.
That is true.
Now they know. And the thing is that bothers me is they told the Orions. Like, I don't think you want to tell the Orions that this is a time device. You know?
Yeah. Or the fuel to do it, which you can totally scan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which and they're pirates. They've probably stolen a lot of old derelict ships.
Well, they didn't, Stuart. They're not pirates. They're scientists. In the future, we don't condemn all of them. But it is actually very interesting you bring that up. It could be the case that Orion did then go forward in time or backwards in time. He could be the one that refueled it. Because he would have kept track of tabs of the mission.
Yeah, maybe.
He would know the material, I'm pretty confident. And that would be interesting, actually, if he did it, turned it on, whatever. Yeah, you could do.
Or maybe they have to use it later in lower decks or something, and leave a little bit in there for that other thing. Remember, that has to happen. That had happened before. It's time paradox.
No, that's really interesting. But yeah, they play it off at the start as being one of the many portals. There's loads of portals. It doesn't really matter.
Other says these are Orion. I get that, but they're also a large pirate contingency in their culture right now, which would, if the pirates found out that it was a time travel device, would definitely utilize it.
Yes.
So you don't have to point that out.
And also, scientists can also use the tech to do things. Like, scientists can test. Have you seen TOS? They went through Guardian. Besides, they stole it. Like, they were totally going to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Martin, $5. I love when Spock and Boimler lean and look around the column at the blast aftermath. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of chem sets when I was a kid. And Boimler's like, I destroyed everything.
Sorry, Olam says they could be klepto scientists. Yeah. That's good.
Kyle Wong, $5 or £5.
Oh, thank you.
Wouldn't Section 31 nab it for safekeeping if they knew it was a time device? You didn't know it was a time device until the beginning of this episode.
Well, Yeah, and also, oh, it's tricky because Uhura now knows it's a time travel device done by Nausicaans. But were they not allowed to tell people? I mean, with the Orions tell people? It's not impressive for the Orions to discover a portal on a planet, per se.
Anyway, just a
Anyway,
gateway to another planet in a sector nearby. They don't know.
yeah, it's a slightly tricky one, but yeah. What I find confusing in the next scene is how they're using very basic crane. They've set Decker in the set with the most basic looking stuff from my optician. You know what I mean? Like those particular things really distracted me. It's just they just grabbed it off Donald, the optician, who's 3 blocks down. It's so rudimentary stuff. You know what I mean? It's just a bit weird for me. That's just me.
But it's a fantastic scene, though, because this is where Spock's like, you talked to Chapel. She didn't tell me the details, but judging by your reactions to my attempts to be human, I must surmise that the Spock from the future that you know is not like that. You've upset her, essentially. Yeah, and then are Sparks bad? Yeah, and he does the he does the actual Boimler.
He does.
Animated
He does.
Yeah, I just love it because he said one thing to somebody, got back to Spock. Spock's now decided that it's only logical that that's the way he's got to end up, so he can't continue his experiments of being human. It's great. It's very well written too, and I love how Boimler's kind of like, do you have to surmise that?
Yeah, it's multiple levels of interesting because I would imagine any conversation. Well, we've all had conversations with people who we've talked to, and then oops, the gossip got around. You know, especially at university, it's like, oh shit, I didn't mean for you to tell Dom what we said, whatever. You had this the Vulcanness into it, where the tone is flat, yet the emotions are raging.
Yeah.
And it's my girlfriend, and it was today, and he's being. I mean, Ethan did a wonderful job playing a flat, pissed off, emotionally hurt, worried about the future, doing science, also not paying attention. If you notice, he's getting a little bit too quick, which I think is why he breaks. He's not quite doing it at the right speed. It's subtle, but it's a really. I might be just projecting what I'm thinking, but I like this. There's a lot of direction, I think, involved in the scene, more than you think.
Yeah, and Boimler makes a point of saying, "Look, if you go on to do a lot of important things, I hope in this timeline, yeah, he kind of spills the beans again without."
Yeah, It is weird that Spock now has another inference point of I'm important. And well, I mean, Chapel wouldn't tell him the full story, but
well, she didn't.
Yeah,
he said she did not elaborate, but she's upset.
Yeah, and again, I'm sorry you went through it quickly. I love the blowing up he's scene because he's not a scientist, is old Boimler, and Spock just knows it's not going to blow up in enough time. But also, I like to take risks and just.
Do you feel lucky?
Oh, because he hasn't actually stopped his emotional side yet. He's still like he's there. He's on that precipice, but clearly, this is because he's emotional and he just took a risk. Like that's, for me, that's the inference here. I love how they damaged the set as well. That's a good repaint. That's a good, yeah. And then suddenly it's engineering, and it isn't a good edit. It's
weird.
It's a weird one.
Talks to Pelia, and she talks about people that, the real heroes don't think they're heroes. And she talks about someone specifically, but we don't know who. Said, I'm just going to tell myself that I'm important until I either become that person or...
Oh, Joe.
One guy I remember, he said to me, I always pretended to be somebody I wanted to be until finally I became that someone, or he became me. That's the advice that makes Boimler realize, shit, he's got to help these people.
Which, we've seen him be when he was doing that simulation Enterprise D, give that speech, he's projecting the leadership that he wants to be. And he can be. Yeah. Yes, a Brit aborted in the Philippines. Yes, that's the fun of it. Same people, same vibe, same uniforms, give or take. Very well done. And then we get the infamous shuttle bay scene, which I love the way it opens up and the force field follows the door. That I thought was beautiful.
My question still remains: why are they launching shuttles? 2 of them.
Why are they launching shuttles?
I have no goddamn idea. Because there's none on the planet's surface. Unless they're doing a survey of the planet and they're just flying around getting scans of the planet. Could be.
I mean, the Enterprise has better scanners.
Yep.
And it's been here for a day.
Doesn't make much sense. But
no.
hey.
Like, it's cool, but... Now, I would buy it if the shuttle went to warp, as if they had to go... If the shuttle had to go...
But if the shuttle went to warp?
Yeah, if the shuttle went to warp, and I don't know how they'd say it, but in dialogue, it was going to go to the nearest relay station to tell Starfleet about our mess up with the grain, because we have to help the colonists. Because we can't leave the planet, the stuff's too far. I would get that, but at the same time, they weren't, like, radically far from Federation space. They were on the way to a colony. This was nothing particularly unusual. They weren't, whatevering. And this is a fun little jump scare, I will admit. But how long is she waiting in the shuttle? The lights off. Really?
Holy Q! They haven't run into him yet. They have a kind of a Trelane thing going on.
Woo!
That's
a top tier reference.
And then this is the
first time I've Trelane some Q vibes. I'm pretty sure in canon. Like saying it out loud.
Yeah, in canon, yeah, I think so.
Because considering this is Lower Decks, people saying it, like that's as close as you're going to get to, she thinks he's a Q-esque.
I mean, there's a whole book about it being Q's nephew, Trelane's Q's nephew, but that's beta canon, so.
But saying it here. And it would have been kind of ridiculous if, like, John Lance had just shown up. What, Mariner? Nothing, Q! Ugh. Can you imagine, though, if they'd done that? I can imagine they'd done that, though. Because, yeah, something Q.
And Bumley doesn't swear. The shuttle rumbles by, and he's like, oh, fudge! And then this is the whole, did you notice how slow everyone talks here? Yeah, and quietly, too.
Yeah. Although I really wish they'd released this when we did our shuttle review, because there's some very big open views of the shuttle, and my god, it's big!
Yeah, it's huge.
Wow! But we knew that, just wow. Now, this is a great little conversation. The fact that Boimler is happy to now just F it to the timeline, just save some people, is a hell of a moment for him.
Yep.
It's very Mariner.
He's had moments like that in Lower Decks, though, where he just does what's right.
Yeah, but the timeline, though? It's a big thing to do.
Well, they just tried synthesizing the... And they screwed it up, so he doesn't think he's getting back, probably. He's like, I'm more worried about helping people now.
No, I like him for it. It's just, yeah.
You'll need an accomplish, because I never get caught.
Never. Not once, Stuart. Never. How did you get... She's not even, like, at the damn door.
No.
She's literally a foot, like, 2 feet away from them.
Yeah, even the side door, you'd hear that, and it's not open that I can see, but...
Well, no, well, the shutters are open. I could, but no, how did he get in? I think, did he get in the side door? Maybe. Basically, La'an appears from nowhere. These are trained Starfleet officers. Mariner is a very able officer. La'an has somehow gone to one of the doors, opened one of the doors, not made a sound, got in for no reason. Well, no, I guess they got the common thing. Fine, there's a reason. Walked up without being heard, then walks out the side of their face, and I think Boimler is looking in that... I can notice things happening there, in my vision. Another, I guess it's meant to be Lower Decks humor, like, out of nowhere, but it's really stark.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway, they get taken to Pike's quarters, and Pike's like, I just want to speak to the 2 ensigns, please. So Lon steps out. He does say, until you're both confined to quarters until we reach Starbase 1, then you'll be their problem. So they're going to be taking them because they don't think they can return them back to the future. So
yeah, Doc Brown's not that close.
I love how Mariner's like, I don't think he could handle being thrown into the brig by somebody he dressed up for as Halloween last year. And Pike's like, yeah, no, what? Really? They had to contour the jawline. It was a whole process. And you can tell Pike's flattered, but yeah, Pike just kills it. I just, oh my god, his subtle little expressions. He's like you said, he's a comedic actor in that regard. So
yeah, he's having all the fun. Yeah, and it's he's had enough, and the fact that he knows he's had enough, and there's no reason to think they'll get him back anytime soon. So he is like, this is it, and so Boimler senses that, and he starts subtly, you should totally go to the party that we haven't totally planned for you, and you know, because someday you might not be around, and it's heartbreaking. Even Mariner's like, shut up. It's quite, yeah, it's kind of, you know. He thinks he's stuck, and he's like, let me see if I can, because he now likes Pike personally, so let me see if I can try and save him. Of course, Pike knows there's a fixed point, you can't change it, which is not how time travel works, but...
I love how Mariner's like, so you know about the chair and the face thing?
I kind of wish it said beep beep.
Yeah.
And it's a bit harsh, but yeah, would have been kind of funny.
He talks about his father.
Yeah.
He's going to be older than his father was when his father died. So he's going to take some time off after this mission to go sit in an ice fishing hut and just have that conversation.
Yeah, so. And that was a shock to me. A third meaningful character moment that comes out of nowhere, that adds something to everyone's character, that you don't just do it, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to be injured, yeah, fine. No, it's like, yeah, I have daddy issues. And I regret things, and then to turn it around as is beautiful. The crew feel that way about you, sir.
Yeah, how many people would like one more day to talk to you, when you're gone?
You know, the old adage, needs of the one, needs of the many, although society often values the one over the many. Take or leave it, you know what I mean? But, you know, it's fine that you want to be introspective, but that's it. You could argue selfish. You know, birthday parties aren't just about you. They're about getting together, having fun. You know, when I got my Trekyards cast, they all got to talk to each other and see each other and experience a moment together. That's special. It's bigger than just, hey, me. And it's really sweet, actually. Really, really sweet, you know. And the fact we see the party at the end, although just the bridge cast, so I guess none of the extras knew them well enough to be invited. It's sweet. It's nice, actually. And, as he said, I'll be 1 year older than my dad. Which, you know... Maybe not in this generation as much, because parents now lived 80s, 90s, you know, but certainly last generation, I guess your generation, you will get to the point where it'll be, yeah, if your dad's died of cancer or smoking younger, you can outlive them without terribly much risk of that not happening, and it's like, damn, I'm older than my dad, that's,
yeah,
you know, it's crazy.
He goes on to say it must be hard going back in time. I can just imagine setting foot on Archer's Enterprise. And Boimler's like, the NX-01. They don't make them like that anymore, do they? No, Captain. I think I know how to get us home.
Yeah.
Which is great, because it was mentioned at the beginning of the episode.
Thanks, Mika.
Just good tie up to that.
Yeah.
Scottish Nightmare says his dad was very religious, hence why they didn't get along. Yes, that was brought up in Discovery.
Yes, with the old reports of they were going to have a huge Pike religious subplot that was cut because it was like, why the hell would you make him a giant Catholic? That's not going to do well for anybody. Like, they had Spock's first name announced on all the posters, and they pulled the posters down. I've not mentioned it since, because that was a mistake in every regard. Because you imagine what episode was that going to be in? You know, T'Pring's mum saying, you know, you jiddled Spock!
You jiddled?
I don't know. It's something alien. That's quite good now, actually.
You jiddled.
And they just cut it out. Don't go first name be Spock. Go away. Yeah.
First name is Mister.
Yeah. I mean, how much love did you feel in your heart with the NX-01 and Archer and Trip and Hoshi getting mentioned in full correct way? How did that make you feel? Because this is their moment.
It was alright.
Oh!
It didn't overwhelm me. It was just kind of like, okay. Oh. Not the hugest Enterprise fan. I like it, but
it never gets called out, though. Ever.
It didn't blow my doors off. It's fine.
I thought it was sweet. It felt like it was a third crossover moment, right? Like three different eras, 3 different timelines. as you had said, and this shot represents it perfectly, there is an NX-01 on the goddamn screen. Do the goddamn briefing next to that screen. Start the scene saying, this, the NX-01. Show the audience, because the audience, if you've not seen Enterprise, what is this? It means nothing. There's one on the goddamn set!
Yep, right behind Pike.
Or bring an Eagle Moss NX-01 out and put it on the table. Look. Or, can you imagine if Ortega's had one in her quarters? She's like, oh, one of those in my quarters. Like...
Yep. But they talk about going to the Fleet Museum, and you didn't even want to go. You ran up to the door. She's like, I didn't want to go. Yeah. He talks about grapplers, and nobody wants to hear about grapplers, and Juan's like, I like grapplers. See?
I wonder how they explained that joke to the actress, because she's not going to know that reference. Come on. Such a good line delivery. But she's probably in the script thinking, I love grapplers. Starts Googling. Grappler Thorn? Grappler from a Star Trek episode? What? But she deserves it so well.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the one time Mariner did pay attention and learns that when they build a new ship, one part of the older ship is put into the new ship. But that's naval tradition these days as well. But yeah, where is it located?
And then Spock interjects, saying she never pays attention, so this is also surprising. Boy!
Thanks, Spock. Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, seriously. This is, of course, the conversation that I was getting so unbelievably excited. Because if they need to find this material, they know it's on the NX-01, we know it's at the Fleet Museum, one of two things should have happened. One, a flash forward. Two, a shot at the Starfleet Museum, which they rendered at the same VFX company for Picard. Seeing a close-up of the same scene file, which exists, they worked on it this year, and show the audience what the NX-01 is. A flash forward, or even they could have gone even further and had Mariner and Boimler in the same uniforms on the LED wall in one of the rings looking at the NX-01. That would have been really easy to do. Really easy. Like an hour's filming, a day of rendering, right? Really easy. Would have been so incredible. One. Or two, they actually do get an NX-01 and we see it in this timeline. And those are the obvious things to do. What are we getting, says Stuart?
A canister of some kind?
Yep.
Not even a plate. Not even like a hull plate or like part of the end from the registry. Something cool. It's a goddamn cylinder. Yeah.
Yep.
I was underwhelmed.
I thought they were going to... I mean, once I realised they weren't going to go NX, which is beyond disappointing, I thought they were going to do a reference to... Because they already had this with the spacewalk with the one piece of the Enterprise before the refit on the outside the hull. Like, where was that? That was an entire point of an episode, right? That's the old part of the ship.
Scorch.
Well, what's this then? It's even older, I guess. And clearly does nothing, because it just pulls it off and does nothing. Like, there's no sense it does anything, it's just a pipe. Yeah,
it's really stupid. It's really stupid.
It
could have been much. This could have been much better.
Yeah, it's really underwhelming. But
I love how they're geeking out about the NX crew.
Leads to that, yes.
It's like, are we starting to sound like them? Yeah, it's irritating.
Devereaux, well, writers and actors strike. This was filmed a year ago.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, no, I love the meta. I mean, yeah, of course, they get to geek out about their heroes. Yes, obviously. It's really nice. It's really refreshing. It's like, yeah, everyone has something that inspired them. Everyone. And that was long enough ago that it would. Really nice.
Yeah. Then we get transporter room, and Mariner explains, yeah, you're on the recruitment poster. He's got it up in his bunk. You should probably have led with that, because this whole time I've been thinking he's a pervert that has like a naked picture of me in his bunk. And that's what inspired him to join Starfleet, the Ad Astra Aspera. She's like, they put that on the poster because we just went through the whole trial thing, where that's what inspired her to join Starfleet, and to know that 100 years in the future that's being used, that's pretty awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sort of surprising payoff. I had mentioned in the previous episode that they were burning through that plot line really quickly, but it lets you get to this thing, and certainly Pike has the, death prophecy with fame, but death prophecy. Now Una has I mean, you can't get more respect prophecy than you're literally the poster girl.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the absolute tier, and she's not exactly relevant in that era as a, like, you know what I mean, beyond everything else, but now she is. She became more, and going from never mentioned again in canon, being in one episode, never mentioned again ever, to being literally the poster child, is very sweet.
Yeah. And then the nice send off by Spock, which the line delivery is awful. I don't know if they should have done another take of that, because it's like, live long and prosper, Mr. Bond. Like, there's a pause, and I don't know if it's showing him transitioning back into being more Vulcan for Boimler to sit. I don't know, instead of being less human.
Oh, exactly. Okay, fair enough.
And they should have done another. Take of that, I think, personally. But hey,
I mean, he has not done that yet in either season. I don't think.
Yeah, maybe not.
He did it in Discovery as a payoff with the beard. I think that's the first time he's done it in this context. So I do think I think the fact that he stumbles a bit is intentional. I think it doesn't feel great, but it also feels like he's choosing his path. I think that's actually quite important thematically. And even Pike is like, you got the thing, but also I think this is not something he says very much, especially if he's less Vulcan philosophy right now. This is the saying, right? So, and yeah, Boimler is a beautiful moment of ridiculousness.
And you too live that.
Although, did you know he is not doing the Sith symbol in the next shot? They do not keep continuity with that. His hands are holding the thing, and he's not whatevering. So they miss continuity that. But at least he gets to be beamed. No, every actor gets to be beamed.
Then the Orions are there, and it's like, oh, you shouldn't have got that message. It's my fault and mine. It's true. It's their fault. Lon's delivery on that was great. She just seems irritated with Boimler the entire time. Yeah. Then they talk about meeting their heroes and quarter life crisis.
Although, how did the Enterprise not know Orions were here?
I don't know.
The ship would have to warp in and beam down. I doubt they can hide. They're not pirates, remember? So why does science ship have the ability to beam them without being detected? That's pretty rare, especially since they're going to be having a sensor locked on this portal. It's the most important. It's the only thing on this planet. So I don't know how they could possibly have whatevered. And they are clearly waiting for the Enterprise crew. So they aren't like they're standing to attention. They're waiting. They're like, oh, we know they're in orbit. We know they're going to beam down any second. Why do they think they're going to beam down any second? Don't know. It's very staged.
Yeah, and somebody just said, Hypnoamber says, wait, is Spock's hand still burned from the teapot? No, it's a little bit red here, but good for noticing that, but no. They're more of a generator.
If Kirk can fix his face in 13 minutes, Spock will fix his hand. But this is a good performance by this guy. Mm-hmm. Doing what Tendi said, taking that in, and Pike didn't know that was Tendi's story, so he's offering this as a fresh solution. So that's actually from his head, saying, "Hey, you guys get credit."
Yeah, I do like where Mariner's like, it's because we're from the future. I feel like he's not paying attention.
What, like you don't pay attention much?
Yeah, because they mentioned the Mistress of the Winter Constellations. He's like, oh, that name, it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that reaction. He's because she's quite important in their culture in her time, so I'm assuming that's a family name, because they they've got a something Tendi.
Astria Tendi.
Yeah. But I assume it's also a similar name, and la 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 is quite quite important. Because I'm sorry when he said some of my best friends are Orions. You're like, that's a famous thing you don't say because it sounds weird. But then this name that you can't know. That was a nice moment, and yeah, I really appreciate although everyone wants to be as a scientist, it doesn't come quite across as it should because at the start he was feeling a bit dodgy. But as you say, if that's all they're used to being, to then be seen entirely as this other thing is lovely, and you really feel it in his psyche, and very, very, very sweet delivery by that guy. Really, really nice.
It's all I ever wanted.
Yeah.
To be acknowledged as a scientist.
Yeah.
Goddamn Pike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as Boyman said, and you really have to listen for it. He does say it's a scout ship.
Yes.
So it isn't a pirate ship. It isn't. It's just a ship. It's just an average ship, right? So, But why the hell isn't Tendi's grandmother one of the two ladies here? It would have been more minutes of the episode. We have more to spare, right? Would have been nice to see.
Yeah.
And did they mention giving the grain back?
No.
Do they give the grain back?
I would assume so. After this, because I think that's the trade-off. You give us the grain back, and we'll say this is a Orion discovery.
But they don't actually say that. They infer
No, they
it.
don't. Yes.
I want to know if that actually happened or not, though.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
Everybody's on good terms at this point. So.
Yeah. It's just a bit close that loop of storyline, please.
Then we hear Rutherford and Tendi on the other side. We'll come to get you, and Pike's like, no, please, no.
Yeah. Now, as you'd said, you wish you'd seen through the portal. Either way.
Yeah, because we had heard we were going to get an animated Pike, and that's what I assumed was going to happen. We're going to see the portal from the other side, and you'd see Pike animated on the other side, going like, no, please don't. But no, we got something even better than that. So.
And in fact, that would have been triply good, actually, if you had seen both sides from each perspective. So, because they could have filmed that in LA, right? A green screen shot of them on the planet. Through the portal, on our perspective, we see Tendi Rutherford in live action just to get that.
Yes.
And in the reverse, you now see the entire cast in low decks. Yeah. That would have been really cool. Confusing.
That would have been amazing. Yeah.
This is cheaper, obviously. And the goodbyes sweet.
Nice to meet you, Captain. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really sweet. And a great portal effect as well. I really like this effect. It's simple but nice. And then boom, instantly back to colourful, not anamorphic, and it really hits you where the black blars go away.
Yeah. And then, yeah, you were right. It was discovered by Orions. And Mariner mentions Astria. How do you know her name?
And Rutherford's like, they seem nice.
Of course he does. It's Rutherford.
I would have been cool if he said, goodbye. Nice to meet you, Captain Pike. What? No, Rutherford. Also. You could have had more fun with that.
Let me see the poster. And thanks for coming to the TOS era for me. Where'd you got that from Ransom? What's that mean? Those old scientists. And then, speaking of Ransom, numero una. Hottest first officer in Starfleet history.
If she was here right now, I'd marry her. What? Hi.
In case you don't know, they're married in real life. Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine.
And they're a proud Trek family. They've had some fun little things.
Yeah.
During COVID, they both wore some Trek shirts once, and yeah.
And they're both first officers, which is hilarious.
Yeah, and entirely random, right? Like he got it first. She got it as like a one-off in Discovery. He got it as an animated voiceover. When we were promised in early seasons they weren't going to have major roles, but they were all so good, they've all had bigger roles. So it's really, really funny that way. I will say, though, obviously, she's wearing the wrong uniform, the wrong phase of the wrong ships, if you're going TOS, because they're not in the TOS era. They're in the pre-TOS era. So that by itself is sort of slight slap in the face, because they aren't TOS. Kind of the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
Like, because if the poster had been a TOS uniform with the ship, would have been golden, right? Like, that would have been like, okay, we're acknowledging both universes, whatever. but to have them there kind of confuses a bit. Well, I wonder if that poster will be in future episodes or not. I wonder if that's a permanent addition to the digital set. I wonder.
Probably.
Probably, yeah.
And is that... Well, it looks like it could be a Strange New Worlds phaser. Regardless, she's gonna live into the TOS era. Maybe that's when the picture was taken. Whatever, it's fine.
Well, that's what I mean. It should have been a...
Yeah.
Other... Yeah, Ransom's funny, though, as you say.
Oh, and then we find out that Mariner called dibs for this mission.
Yes.
Just so that Boimler could experience his favorite portal. Sounds dirty.
Yes. What?
And then we get a beautiful shot of a gleaming white, beautiful Strange New Worlds Enterprise in orbit. Look at that shot. That looks so good. That's the one I was talking about earlier. Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no bridge window either, as in no visible light.
Yeah.
And this set is really detailed. I mean, they put some time into this recreation. They kind of had to, because it's filled with props. Annoying for the people, who made it. I don't think their Pike's particularly good. I'm going to say it now. That does not answer mount to me.
Not really, no.
It's answer mount-esque, but I wouldn't say it's answer mount. I think everyone else is pretty close.
Ortega's being the closest, I think.
I mean, Ethan Spock's pretty good. I mean, they're all trying to be joke versions, aren't they? They're not they're all...
Here's the thing. I wish they would have done the animated series style, like the old ones, because you've already seen when they were looking at a pad of Kirk and Spock. It was the animated series. It would have been cool if they'd done that as well. I don't have a problem with this per se, but that was the true TOS. This is the pre-TOS. So in the pre-TOS, they look like themselves, and for some reason, historical records have them look like TOS TAS in the in-between years. Sure.
Now, I was convinced, because boy, we have some minutes we could play with if they kept the episode going. This is a great little scene. It's lower decks joke. It's not serious. It's whatever. It would have been better for me personally if they had this scene and all of a sudden Rutherford walks in and Tendi walk in lower decks uniform, and they would say, "Hey guys, who are you? Hey, we're Rutherford." And it's like, what? Oh no, not again. Turns out it's a holodeck simulation because the other two come in, Rutherford and Mariner and Boimler, because they obviously they know they want to see what happened next because they're curious. Yeah. Well, Mariner is. Boimler would let it lie. Mariner's like, "I want to see what they say about us." "No, Mariner, don't do it." And they walk in and they're like recounting the log. It would be weird to talk about, but in this scenario, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And they're like, or maybe Spock says, "That Mariner woman was quite attractive." See, hot Spock thought I was, you could play with this scene and have everybody in the same set. I thought would have been really nice. And technically, you could say you're interactive with that. Mm-hmm. Small note, but I think you could have had 10 minutes of this as an epilogue, and actually have both. You've had Strange New Worlds, you've had Lower Decks, you've had Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, you've had Strange Lower. Personally, but that's just me.
General Grievous throws in $2. Happy, our Family Guy, Captain Pike. Yeah. But anyway,
yes,
Karis.
We know the joke. It's a joke, but there are better ways you could have done it.
Karis gave a bottle of real Orion Deluxe.
Yes.
So these are genuine hurricanes.
Yes.
And it's, does anyone else feel strange? How does everything feel so two-dimensional?
It is funny. It is a good joke.
Or so flat, yeah.
And I love that it does tell you then that they were peaceful with the Orion. That is the closing note, that they double traded and they
Well, they could have mentioned the grain here too. We got the grain back or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I like that clearly they're like doing this trade and they're on the bridge and she's like,
yeah.
"Captain Pike." "Yes, Ortega's?" "Ask if they had that booze." And he's like, "Captain, do you have any of this booze?" "Yes, 10 bottles." "Can we have one?" Like, you can imagine the awkward, like, "Why are you asking for their booze?" "Because I want to try the real thing." I can see that being a very hard thing to do.
I love the last line, though. Mbenga is like, "What the hell is in these things?"
Yeah, it's so comical. Although, Aeon does say that would give Enterprise season flashbacks, the season finale. Yes! But it's clever. because you get to see the other end. Would have been kind of cute.
And it's also not a season finale or a series finale. That's the killer.
Yeah, yeah.
That episode of Enterprise would have been beautiful as a mid-season episode, not a series finale.
Yeah.
That's just disrespectful.
Or the big money two-parter series finale where you get to build more sets, have more TNG cast, do more with it. Would have been, yeah.
And that's it. That's your lot.
Dang. So what do people need to do now? Stuart, my good chat.
Now is the time to super chat in with your out of 10 scores. We want to hear what you guys think about this episode. Any final thoughts and your scores out of 10. I will read those after we've done our final thoughts and scores ourselves. And so super chat in with your scores right now. You can also put them in the regular chat. Sam will read those out after we're done if that's what you choose to do. But please consider a few more super chats would be awesome. Another $20 would be an actual great number. So a couple of 5s, a 10, 120, something like that. Throw those in and let us know your scores out of 10.
Or if everyone puts in a 5 right now. A well done 5. Yeah.
So, yeah. Hit that like button if you haven't.
So, Stuart.
Oh, yes.
How do you feel now after we reviewed this? Anything different? Any nuances? It was a pretty substantial review. How do you feel now?
I still feel really good about it. I really like this episode. I didn't get the sense that when he was talking to Spock that he thought the room was so big. I kind of like that. Kind of implies that, I didn't expect the room to be so big. There's certain little things that I kind of gleaned from you during these reviews that I really appreciate that I didn't think of. So overall, though, I think it was great. We got to see more Ortigas, which was awesome. I think she was really funny in this one. They all kind of had their good moments. They really let everybody kind of shine in this one, I think. Pike, again, is a standout for me, as usual. I think Anson Mount does a fantastic job. He's the leading man, but he's also not in these episodes where he's just brilliant, Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome both looked amazing, and even Jack Quaid getting the physicality down, the walking, the running, the scream. It was all beautifully done, and it was, like I said, this is a very Trek episode of Trek, because all the little references, which Lower Decks is brilliant at, have been carried over to this, and it's really neat to see an animated crossover with live action. So we're back.
1800 kilobytes, 900 kilobytes. You tell us. I've just been sitting here.
Yeah, it looks like we're back.
Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the right at the end. OBS, you son of a gun.
So what did you guys hear last? What was the last thing you heard? Because I gave 2 of my scores.
Yeah, I lost 100. Maybe anyway. Weird. Well, I heard the 2 scores. The 3rd score I didn't hear, so because we didn't get there yet. You paused just as you were saying it.
I'm gonna give it a 9.6 for the final for Stranger Worlds.
Right.
Yep.
Guys, put your scores and your super chats. Last little goal to do. I'll do my score, then super chats. So last few and vote in the poll as well.
Yeah.
Fun episode. Really, really fun. Probably one of the funnest in any recent memory, even to a Lower Deck standard, because you get to ground it in they had to physically film it and be clever. Clever Trek jokes versus physical humour as much. The 2 actors they stormed in, but didn't overwhelm the other actors. Everybody had a good time doing it. The emotional beats were shockingly well done and powerful and grounded. Ethan and Anson did a great job. We already said Nurse Chapel, can't remember her name, sorry. Jess, she did a really, really good job in her scene. Ortiga's, again, she has 2 lines an episode, but she normally does them really good. She did a very good job here. You get to put her subplot in. Yeah, really, really, really good. And also shot more like classic Trek, because Jonathan Frakes directed it. There's a real, it feels like you're watching these TNG characters inside Stranger Worlds. It isn't filmed like a Stranger Worlds episode, which also helps ground it. it is from their perspective. Although I wonder if Jonathan directed the animated stuff. I wonder if he got on a Zoom and did directing for that. Probably, but I wonder. Really good, yeah. It's hard not to call it best episode of the season, just because, of course, it's a love letter to so much. You know, that it sort of wins that by default, because it's still a real story. It suppresses things, and in fact, weirdly, it feels like there's more characters than the average Strange Worlds episode get more to do, except Mbenga. He's the one that's left out this week, because of the La'an Kirk one, it was just them two. And when Pike wasn't in one, he wasn't in one. You know, like, it was actually more ensemble than they normally get, despite two leads coming in. Score-wise, the showing the NX in a future flash forward would have been easy and cheap and doable. They could have had a cast member from the NX era be on screen in some way. I said Jonathan Frakes cameo would have been obvious. I always said they could have done that. It would have been a really, really fun thing. And get him in another show. Because why not? And you could do an easy de-age if you're just doing a front-on shot, right? Like, that's all it is. It'd be a log. I could do that, right? It's not that difficult. Score-wise enjoyment, I mean, it's going to get top tier. 10s are with the bonus. I'm going to give it a 9.8. Because I'm going to hold those 2 points for utter perfection. But, I mean...
It's personal enjoyment, though. Like, I want to reiterate what I said about that to these guys that didn't hear it.
Sure.
I really enjoyed it because it was out of the blue on a Saturday, and I got to watch it for the first time with Sylvia. Usually I see it a few times before I watch it with Sylvia, so I had the personal enjoyment factor of all the nuance of, she knows Trek really well too, she knows Lower Decks, so we got to enjoy it together, and that really upped the ante to give me a 10 out of 10 for my personal enjoyment for this one.
Excellent. Yeah. It was too short and no NX. And if it had a Strange Worlds ending bit with more stuff, that would have been great. But I mean, hey, I don't possibly think they're going to beat it this season. It's too much in a good package.
It was super hyped too, and it didn't let us down. That's the other thing.
Yeah, because it wasn't what they pitched either. It wasn't the Mariner Boimler come in, rush around, do weird stuff. It was a really big heart. Yeah. All new Trek. I mean, this is up there because it literally is 2 of the new Treks. And it's actually a good Lower Decks episode as well as a good Strange Worlds episode. It's not like the DS9 one where it was actually a DS9 episode with Lower Decks characters. It was actually really well balanced considering. It's, you know, if Picard Season 3 is a touchdown of quality, it's on par with a lot of that. And a lot better than some of that because in fun factor, the sets are bright, having fun. But the best of that is also more, you know, legacy, whatever. But still, I mean, this is one of the best of the last few years. I wish I knew scores I said for like the end of season 1 of Strange Worlds because that was also very, very good. Yeah, I mean, I've got to give it 9.7. I'll match you with that. I think it's right there. I mean, is it the best episode of both seasons of Strange Worlds? If you're looking pure enjoyment, yes. But an hour and 15-minute Romulan War Romulan alternate universe Pike story is very, very good.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go 9.8 for Stranger Worlds. This is a very high bar.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a very high bar for them. It's kind of like Still in the Edge of Forever. If there's one episode of thing to watch that for TOS. This is the one to watch Stranger Worlds almost, because it's just like. Oh, time travels. You don't need to know them to like them even. Like, it does that as just a fun, good job, and all the characters are in it, and yeah, really, really good for them. Well done.
Frank said he didn't direct the animation, but he was there. Okay. All right, so let's get to some super chat scores. You guys have super chatted some in, so thank you so much. If anybody wants to still do that, you can while I'm reading these.
Last few would be amazing.
Let's see here. Mark Lawrence, $5, 9.975 out of 10. And Trekyards spelling, that's the way to spell it. Yes, you got it correct. Here, Quadritrilicale in TOS, troubles with tribbles. Quadritrilicale and the animated series, more troubles. It sounded the same, but it definitely wasn't the same. Different grain, different planet. Ray Ricks, £2, 9 out of 10, really fun, quite rewatchable. yeah, the rewatchability factor of this is also one of the reasons I give it a 10 out of 10 for personal enjoyment. So, X Star throws in £5, 9.7 out of 10 for new Trek, 8.5 out of 10 for all Trek. One to be proud of. Yeah, we don't do an all Trek rating, so. Joe Brown, $2, 8 out of 10, one of the top crossover episodes. Yeah, this and Trials and Tribulations would be on 1 and 2.
Well, that would be a very fun top 10.
Yeah.
Because this would be right up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Aeon, though, throws in $7 Canadian. It says 8 out of 10. I dug the episode a lot. Fun breakdown, guys. I'm a bit optimistic about the musical episode coming up. Yeah, they want to do this musical Star Trek for a while, so hopefully it's good. And Kyle Wong throws in £5. Thank you so much. Where is Chief Engineer in the party? They don't like her? Oh yeah, Pelia wasn't there. That's interesting. Well, she's lived for thousands of years as well. She's
and they've only known her like 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. She's not Hammer, so screw her.
It's clear it's private birthday party. I mean, yeah. Because it's not like it's heads of staff because Chapel's there. She's just some nurse. No offense, right? Like it's just it's his personal main characters, and she's a guest character. They're all main characters.
There you go. Thank you for the super chats, guys. If anybody wants to still super chat in with the score, we will welcome that.
Last minute would be wonderful.
Yeah, let's read some non-super chats.
Yes. What do people say? 10, 8, 10, 10, 7, 9, 9.5, 10 for Donny. Nah, come on, 15 for Donny. 9, 9.7, 10, 20 out of 10. 10 for each show. There you go. 9.6, 8, 9.2. 100 out of 10. He cannot count. 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10. 7.5. As the Thing About Stranger Was episodes. Fair enough. 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Lots of people saying they can't see us. They know I am in the chat. 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 9.7, 20 out of 10, 9.5, 7, 9.5, 9.9, 9, 8, 9.8, sorry, 6. Wow, that was the, just a throwing hand, throwing 6 at the end there. Goodness. Goodness.
There you go. It's an overwhelming kind of like awesome episode. That's awesome. Good to hear.
Yes.
All right, guys. If you haven't hit like yet, please do so. We got to end on our poll.
Oh, that too. Okay, you can read that one straight.
Should there be more Lower Decks live action crossovers or new content? Yes, more Lower Decks in live action. 76%.
Good.
Nope, leave them in animation. 24%. Yeah.
Should have been 100. I'm slightly biased. And of course, guys, this is a bonus one. Same goddamn thing next Friday for a Klingon episode.
Yeah,
the Klingon war criminal. Cool. And finally on Tika's episode, maybe. Maybe, hopefully. And I believe tomorrow we're doing the Lower Decks trailer.
I mean, we can. We got a whole month of August to do it to build up to the next season, but if you want to do it now, that's fine.
Well, I want to look at it properly, Stuart.
We could do Discovery.
What do you guys want to watch? The Lower Decks trailer or the Discovery trailer breakdown? Vote now! Right now! Vote now! And maybe a drunk cast of the weekend. I hope we can, but
yeah. I have a thing on Saturday, which I had forgotten about.
Ooh.
We'll have to see.
Good thing, bad thing, indifferent thing?
A good thing. Good thing. Me and Sylvia have going on a little bit of a trip, so.
Oh. Is it a better trip if you're hammered?
No, it's not a trip. So.
You're just in the back seat singing while she's driving.
Yeah, plenty of time for Disco. That's true, but there's also plenty of time for Lower Decks. We have a whole month leading up to it to talk about the upcoming seasons. So
That is true. We've
But-
got like 6 months for Discovery.
yeah,
TNG review. Well, no one showed up to those, so that's on you guys. Oh, Death
I mean,
King.
we'll do TNG reviews in August when there's no new track for sure. But
There's other fun stuff.
yeah, all right. Well, looks like Lower Decks will be the thing. Cool.
And like I say, Klingons. Thursday. For us, anyway. You guys on Friday.
Yes.
Well, Thursday for Stuart. And Friday for Stuart.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching and participating and taking part. We really appreciate you guys.
Yes, yes, yes.
See you tomorrow for the Lower Decks trailer breakdown. We'll do that live, scene by scene, frame by frame, because there's a lot of quick cuts in that and lots of cool stuff to see. So come and join us. We'll speculate on the next season, and it's good. You know, we just talked about Lower Decks, kind of. So yeah, it's good. It works out well. So until then.